Fighting Irish Notre Dame, 7.5-point home favorites in South Bend over Indiana. Penn State, 8.5-point favorites in Happy Valley over SMU. Texas, 11-point favorites at Darrell K. Royal against Clemson. And Ohio State in the Horseshoe, 7.5-point home favorites over the Tennessee Volunteers.
Give me basketball tonight, if you will.
The Alabama Crimson Tide, an 11-point favorite at Michigan. We were asked about this earlier. South Carolina, 11-point favorite at Illinois. You'll have to allow me to change. Which game are you looking for there, Jim?
Just the Jimmy V Classic. The two SEC teams in action tonight. Tennessee and Miami at 5:30. Michigan and Arkansas at 8 o'clock.
Tennessee is a 14.5-point favorite over Miami. 14.5-point favorite. And Arkansas is a 4-point dog against Michigan. All right, all those lines and all the lines are at mybookie.ag. Code next round for the sports book there. That is going to be a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. 50% of your deposit up to $1,000 when you use code next round at mybookie.ag. Now, if you sign on and you're like, yeah, but I'd like the casino bonus, we're going to give you that too. TNR Casino is the code there, TNR Casino. That is a 300% casino bonus up to $2,000. So right there at mybookie.ag, TNR Casino for the 300% casino bonus up to $2,000. Our code next round for the sportsbook deposit, 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. mybookie.ag, code TNR Casino, and code next round.
I sent this out last night, and I really believe this is the case. Now, some people said, Jim, it's not rebuilding, it's retooling, reloading. But I believe Alabama is in a rebuilding mode this year with Kalen DeBoer to bring in more of his style of players. Would you label it retooling, rebuilding, some other word for what Kalen DeBoer wants to do with his roster? Because that tweet I showed you yesterday from Mike Rodak, him saying thankful for the wide receivers who, with limited production this year, basically saying that's not the way it's going to be moving forward.
Yeah, I think it's a really unique situation based on the fact that you have an elite coach, in my opinion, taking over from the greatest to ever do it, and their cultures are night and day. Both really, really good cultures, but to go from what Saban had to what DeBoer really wants to instill in Tuscaloosa, it takes a little bit of a transition. I know Alabama fans don't want to hear it. 9-3 was very disappointing. But I think you're going to like the results moving forward. And I do think Jalen Milroe just wasn't that fit at quarterback, as good as he looked at times. And I was on with our friend Ian Fitzsimmons last night, and he asked me about Milroe. Is Milroe going to the NFL, or do you think he's back in Tuscaloosa? And I said, he ain't back in Tuscaloosa.
No.
And he said, what is that, fans? And I was like, I don't think it's fans. I think it's internally. Like, they're ready to move on. And I think Kalen DeBoer has a quarterback in Ty Simpson that is more in line with other quarterbacks like a Jake Haener or a Michael Penix.
Some in the mybookie.ag chat room were using the word recalibration. It's a recalibration for Alabama football.
Well, I used rebuilding because they're going to build it differently. You may add on a part of your house. You're not rebuilding the whole house, but you're restructuring it. You're adding on. He's got to do it differently, and they absolutely had to play this year the way they played with Jalen Milroe to have a best chance of winning games. But moving forward, that's not the style. That's not what he wants to do. That's not how he won all those games. And I think he's going to do it differently. Different style of quarterback, more high-quality receivers that fits what he wants to do receiving-wise. I don't know what that means defensively, but offensively, definitely a restructure, rebuilding, retooling, whatever word you want to do. It'll be interesting to watch what Courtney Morgan, the GM, and Kalen DeBoer do in the portal over the next few days as this portal remains open. We'll continue to talk about it at Cover Crimson, also thebarnauburn.com, and here on the show. We'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Time. A new Bama and Bourbon out in a moment. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store. Call the Next Round now at 205-734-0923. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
The future of the college football playoffs being discussed last night in Las Vegas at the Bellagio, ironically. Greg Sankey has comments. We'll talk about that coming up. We'll get into what we're seeing on the basketball court. Another great night for the SEC last night on a national stage. That's redundant now when it comes to basketball. We start with the portal, though, and some stuff going on. Just help me out here. I thought Jackson Arnold had committed to Mississippi State. Did you not?
I think you saw a silver or crystal ball, not a silver ball. Silver ball's on a Christmas tree, I guess.
Yeah, I never saw the official. Yeah. I saw him in the portal. I saw visiting Starkville. Michael Van Buren is in the portal now, so you would think that Jeff Lebby, this thing is going to happen.
Yeah, but let's stick. I mean, we've got a ton of these, including Van Buren, who I thought looked great at Mississippi State when he came in there. But Arnold, who I thought had gone to Mississippi State, I bring it up because, according to the same On3 Sports folks who follow this, and I'm not knocking them, it's confusing as heck. He's planning a visit to Auburn now, which I think is good. 5-star quarterback. Also, according to On3, Malik Murphy, we talked about him yesterday, Lance. Most interested teams for him, Auburn and Miami. So if I'm choosing Jackson Arnold or Malik Murphy, I like my choices there. If I'm the future Auburn quarterback, if I'm an Auburn fan, I like those choices.
Well, you're getting an upgrade, whether it's and the reason I brought up Van Buren was because it seems like now it would make sense for Jeff Lebby to try to reunite with Jackson Arnold. But if you're getting Arnold, Malik Murphy, or even Van Buren, no offense to our man Peyton Thorne, but you're getting an upgrade there. Now, that's the order I would have it in. I would go Jackson Arnold, Malik Murphy, and Van Buren.
Oh, wow. So you would put Jackson Arnold in front of Malik Murphy. I thought you would have Murphy in front of him.
Well, I mean, you go back.
You're not going to believe the question I was about to ask you then, Lance.
But think about this. A year ago today, if I'd have been like, this Jackson Arnold, everybody's hyping this guy up, or Malik Murphy that was very shaky for Texas, you would have easily taken Jackson Arnold. I'm just going upside with Jackson Arnold.
My follow-up question was going to be, if Malik Murphy picked Miami, how big of a downgrade is that from Cam Ward? And he's got Jackson Arnold in front of him, so I don't even have to ask the question.
I mean,
now.
Malik Murphy just can't. Cam Ward could do so much with his legs.
I know it's a downgrade. Yeah. But I mean, Duke got 9 wins with Malik Murphy. That's pretty good quarterback play.
Yeah. Go check out and see who those wins were against. But
it's Duke, Jim.
You wouldn't find any of them in the SEC, I don't think.
But he was much better than I thought he would be. Like, I thought that was a massive downgrade from Riley Leonard when healthy to Malik Murphy. Yeah. And production-wise, it wasn't.
You want their wins? Elon, Northwestern, on the road. They had to go play on the banks of the Michigan to get that one, Jimmy. UConn, at Middle Tennessee, North Carolina. I mean, they started 5-0. Florida State. Jim, you beat the vaunted Seminoles if you're Duke. North Carolina State on the road, Virginia Tech. Okay, at Wake. You made your point.
Yeah. Wow. So Malik Murphy. So for Auburn, for the fans who care about Auburn, Malik Murphy, Jackson Arnold, you got a good recruit coming in. If you get one of those two and the good recruit coming in, is that enough to appease the Auburn fans that Hugh Freeze did enough in this portal? Because they griped about it all year about last year.
Well, look, and because now you look at some of the success, whether it was Malik Murphy, Duke 9 wins, or Cam Ward, or Riley Leonard, and these other guys, and for for Hugh Freeze to stand pat. And the conversations we had with Hugh and other people in the offseason, he was confident in his quarterback situation. He was so confident, he sold me. So I think if you're an Auburn fan, obviously the most important thing in the portal is quarterback. If you get that right, based on the way the offense played, not against Alabama, but the way the offense played against Texas A&M, there's a lot of upside going into year 3, in my opinion, for Auburn.
I think this is hard, Jim. So I'm going to ask for a lot if I'm an Auburn fan, right? It is Christmas. If I'm an Auburn fan, I want an obvious starter out of the portal, and I want an insurance policy out of the portal. Now, that's hard to do because nobody wants to be an insurance policy.
Nobody wants to be.
That's hard to do, and you're probably going to have to pay to do it. And convince a guy like, you come in and win the job, when you're thinking, if you win the job, we're probably in trouble, but you're a good insurance policy. But that's what I would want. If you're just asking me what I want out of the portal, that's what I want.
Now, is there?
Well, where do you factor in the big recruit that's coming in, Deuce?
Deuce Knight. Well, I factor him in getting some playing time this year and starting for me next year.
So he shouldn't be your insurance. He shouldn't be QB2.
I mean, I guess he could in a worst case, yeah. But I'm just saying,
if he's not good enough to be your QB2 as a freshman, is he really your future?
Well, it depends on who my insurance policy is.
That's like, Russell coming into Tuscaloosa. I mean, you assume next year he is going to be the 2. And I asked Aaron Suttles yesterday on Bama and Bourbon, is there a possibility that DeBoer would look into the portal for a quarterback? And he's like, I don't think so. Like, I never rule anything out. But Ty Simpson seems to be that guy. And, the problem is you go out and you get one of these portal guys, the quarterback room clears. Like, nobody wants to. If you're going outside the program to bring somebody into this room to start, none of these guys are going to stay around.
You've already lost Lonergan, right? He's in the portal.
He's still there.
He's still there. He didn't portal it yet.
I didn't see that unless he did last night.
Yeah, no, I guess not. So it's still crowded.
Yeah, I mean, you still got Austin Mack there, and then obviously, I mean, do you guys? I think it's a 95% chance Ty Simpson starts next year. Is that fair?
I mean, he's your favorite. 95%. I don't know. I mean, Keelan Russell could come in and absolutely tear it up, but he's definitely the betting favorite right now, Ty Simpson.
Yeah, they obviously liked Austin Mack for a reason.
Yeah, I agree. But if you're an Alabama fan, as good as Keelan might be, you would rather have a guy like Ty Simpson day one, I think.
Well, I mean, the game experience is, just slightly more for Ty Simpson.
That's true. But
he hasn't played that much.
Watching Raiola as a true freshman at Nebraska, he had some really good moments, but then he had some true freshman moments. And I just don't know consistently at a high level in the SEC, a true freshman quarterback. I mean, when is the last time we saw that? I know Brent Schaefer started as a true freshman.
I mean, Jalen Hurts.
Was he a true freshman?
Yeah. He was a true freshman. Now, he didn't start game one, obviously. Blake Barnett did.
He played more in the first game than
no doubt.
Barnett did.
Yeah, he finished it up and got it in the house and then started the rest of the year. And
led with 2:12 to go in the national championship game.
Yeah, I mean, had a pretty good year, Jalen Hurts did. Yeah. So,
but I
with problems at coordinator that caused the coordinator to get fired with Steve Sarkisian as an interim on the sidelines calling plays. So I would say Jalen Hurts did okay for that first year.
If I'm an Alabama fan, I'm very content with the quarterback situation right now, even kind of sight unseen with a Ty Simpson. But Auburn is just such an unknown right now because, we talked about this weeks and weeks ago. If you've got your quarterback of the future on that roster, you would have started him by now.
Hank Brown, by the way, who did start, is visiting Iowa on Thursday. That could be his next destination. Yeah. Not a lot of pressure to score points there.
Yeah, doesn't like to throw the football.
Yeah. So can he hand off okay?
Yeah, so Malik Murphy, Jackson Arnold, a couple of names that are on Auburn fans' tip of their tongue as we start this Wednesday show in the college football portal season, which is insanity when you've got just coming off of signing day, which happened in the week of championship games, conference championship games, and now you're dealing with the portal in the middle of all of the college football. If you're a playoff team, you're getting ready for the college football playoffs. Crazy calendar.
You think they can like get this clutter out of the way? Because the NFL, and we've talked about this, they do such a good job.
Eventually they will.
Of having everything lined up and having really a 365-day-a-year calendar.
Well, they got it out of the way a little bit because keep in mind, signing day, as it was initially scheduled, was the first week of the college football playoff. It was the 19th, I think it was, maybe?
Yeah, maybe the 18th.
So the 18th or 19th or somewhere like that. So they actually moved it up in the calendar to get it away from the college football playoff, which is an improvement.
The point I was going to make, though, is that you have all this chaos going on in that calendar and everything. And then there's Kenny Dillingham, who's got his team in the playoffs with a bye. And yesterday he commented, I had some guys coming to me saying, obviously I'm going to hit the portal when our run is over with.
Oh.
They're backup guys. They're not part of the roster. And Dillingham told him, no. Go ahead and put your name. This is great from this coach, this young coach. It's a great move by him. Go ahead and put your name in the portal. You're not going to have a landing spot if you don't jump in there now. If you keep doing your work, doing everything you're supposed to do, you stay part of my team. I have no problem with you being part of my team and putting your name in the portal because you're not getting the playing time here. Moving forward, you're going to go somewhere else. Don't abandon this ride we're on. I'm okay. I'm self-confident enough as a coach on what we're doing here at Arizona State. I appreciate you saying you'll wait until after the run is over with. But, hell, I plan on playing all the way deep into January. That's going to hurt you. You're not going to have a place to land. Go ahead and find your place to land. keep doing your work here with me, and I'll let you stay on the team. I think it takes a grown-ass man to do that.
Now, when you initially let it out of your mouth, I was like, I want guys that are committed to this team and they're focused on our mission right now. But I think it is brilliant in recruiting moving forward. Hey, look, this is the kind of guy that really, he's flexible. He wants you to be part of his program. If it doesn't work out for you, he's going to help you find the next landing spot. We talked about it yesterday, and I forgot who the coordinator is that's taking a job that is going to be in the college football playoff. They're probably going to stay on.
Andy Kolonicki. Well,
Yeah.
he may not be. He's a finalist for the West Virginia job, but last night, Rich Rodriguez's name continues to heat up for West Virginia. So we'll see.
We do
it's the
expect
Penn State coordinator.
These guys to, as coordinators, to stay with their program and to be able to focus on the new job, but at the same time, the task at hand. So, I guess these backup players can do it as well.
Preston Stone has done this exact same thing. Now, he's the backup at SMU.
Yeah, was the starting quarterback the first 2 games of the season.
Yeah, and has taken significant steps. Now, if you see Preston Stone, it has gone horribly wrong. But he is at least an experienced backup, right? I mean, if your starter's got to be on the sideline, his helmet comes off or something like that, he's at least an experienced backup. Now, he says he's going to stay through the college football playoff, which tells you Rhett Lashley is okay with this. So apparently Lashley is operating the same way as Kenny Dillingham. Like, listen, you're part of this team. You got to do what you got to do, but be part of this team until the end.
Thomas Castellanos, according to On3 Sports, is being picked now to end up a crystal ball at Florida State.
Wow.
With Gus Malzahn as his offensive coordinator.
It's not Jordan Travis, but it is an upgrade from DJ. We kind of said this going into last year, and one of the reasons that, I thought Florida State wasn't going to be as good as billed was because I think we have a big enough sample size of DJ. He's just an 8-win quarterback, not this year. But I do think Castellanos is an upgrade. That would have been an interesting one if Castellanos took a look at Auburn as well. He seems like a quarterback that would fit with Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, I mean, that was the guy last year that Luganville. It was after, I think, the Florida State trip.
Game.
Yeah, Florida State trip.
39-38.
Yeah.
Florida State squeaked that game out.
Luganville said if there were in-season trades, so many teams would line up to trade for Castellanos. Now, it started out okay for him, but it just didn't work out, this year at Boston College. But boy, last year.
The big Alabama wide receiver Caleb Odom, who is in the portal, is visiting Colorado. He's a former teammate, a high school teammate of Juju Lewis.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Reunited, 2 big, highly thought-of recruits out in the portal. So that's some of the portal news. Jacob Zeno, the UAB quarterback, is out to Texas A&M.
That's quite the upgrade there for Zeno. In fact, I mean, he went
From Baylor
to UAB to Texas A&M.
Now he's in his best spot.
I mean, that's what I was about to say. Yeah. He's actually, it's a circuitous route, but he's ended up at his best location at the end of his career.
Backup quarterback at best there, though, right?
In all likelihood, yeah. But, I mean, he was standing on the sidelines in Birmingham, too, though.
Yeah, so he's going to be the backup. That's some of the portal news from overnight. We'll get to some more college football, but another thought about the quarterback position after we tell you about Rodney Scott Barbecue, one of our great sponsors here.
Hey, look, you're looking for a big-time lunch today, dinner tonight, stop into one of those local locations of Rodney Scott's. One in Trussville, one downtown Homewood. You can also place your holiday meal order. Go to RodneyScottsBBQ.com. Place that pre-order for Christmas, homemade southern sides and desserts. Support local this holiday season. Rodney Scott's Barbecue, locally owned and operated. They serve James Beard award-winning barbecue. Absolutely fantastic stuff. From the ribs to the wings to that slow-cooked chicken. For more information, RodneyScottsBBQ.com.
And go see America in an RV from Johnston RV Center, I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. Great deals right now on the RVs and the travel trailers, the fifth wheels, to go see America. In fact, right now, travel trailers, low payments, as low as $145 a month. Fifth wheels, great savings, $45,000 and more in savings at Johnston RV Center. You'll find your lowest prices right now, I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. RV warranty forever. Make sure you got a lifetime warranty on anything new and qualifying used. See more at johnstonrvcenter.com. Lance likes this guy. Just hitting the portal. Cal quarterback Fernando Mendoza.
I love him.
3,000 passing yards, 68% passer rating. Or not completion percentage, this year.
Yeah, I would put in Mendoza over all these guys.
Oh, really? So really he'd be your number one.
Yeah, I think Jackson Arnold probably has the most upside, but just Mendoza's experience and hasn't had a ton of skill around him, and, man, he's been really good.
Well, let's see if Hugh Freeze learns from his lesson. lost a game.
That's right.
To a quarterback that hit the portal, let him go to Vandy and lost to him again. Here's an opportunity to get a guy who came in with Cal to Jordan-Hare Stadium.
Again, not fair to Peyton Thorne, maybe, but if you flip the quarterbacks in that game, you saw it play out.
Oh, yeah, Auburn wins the game.
Yeah, Auburn
There's
wins
no
the game.
doubt. Yeah.
And I think Hugh has got so much pressure from, wasn't it last year he said something like, I don't want to spend the money, or we didn't have the money?
The discussion was at SEC Media Days that they did not spend a lot of money. They were saving their portal money, their NIL money, to buy big this offseason for year 3. Year 3 is what Marcelo and others had told us was going to be the big year for Auburn to jump forward in the Hugh Freeze plan, to build up a couple of good recruiting classes, to have a foundation laid. And then year 3 is when they would go heavy into the portal to make a splash to fill the holes that he does not have in these recruiting classes to move the Auburn program forward. So if that is still the plan, then Auburn's buyers in the NIL world in this portal. They're buyers. They've got all the money. They're going to go out and be the New York Mets.
Yeah, I mean, look, you've got friends that are Auburn backers, boosters. I don't know how much they contribute to the collective, but if I contribute to the collective, I expect a big splash this year because that's what we were told year 3. Hey, look, he came through with this signing class. Now it is time to make noise in the portal because without doing that, Auburn can be improved next year, but they're not going to be able to make the jump that some of these other teams were able to make.
They were upset that he didn't spend the money last year.
I would have been.
The money's not just there for 1 year. It's there every year. Go spend it this year, spend it next year, spend it every year.
We're not looking for interest. We're looking for quarterbacks.
Here's my other thought on quarterbacks in our opening segment here. For whatever reason, Alabama fans not always on board for the Jalen Milroe experience. Is that a fair statement?
That's fair, yes.
Fair statement. Last night, by the way, he did pick up the Campbell Trophy, known as the Academic Heisman, premier college athlete and student. So they take both on the field and academics into account. Only one other Alabama player's ever won that. Our buddy Barrett Jones is the guy that did that.
If you would have told me the Campbell Award was for the most inconsistent player in college football, I'd have been like,
I saw it last night. I was like, I don't know what the Campbell is.
Yeah, it's the Academic Heisman. So Congratulations to Jalen Milroe for that. That being said, he gets that on the same day that the coaches All-SEC team comes out. QB1 voted on by the coaches in the SEC. Jackson Dart, Ole Miss.
Yeah, I got no problem with that.
QB2,
Sellers?
Quinn Ewers, Texas. QB3, Lenore Sellers, South Carolina. They don't have a fourth team All-SEC.
Yeah.
There's no Jalen Milroe there on 1, 2, or 3. There's no Carson Beck on 1, 2, or 3.
What's funny is mid-season we had given this award to Diego Pavia.
We had.
Yeah, there's no Diego Pavia there.
Yeah,
But
but I mean,
if you would have said mid-season after Pavia, I mean, from Pavia to the way Milroe looked against LSU, that neither one of those guys were in the top 3.
I know. I mean, yeah, coming out of the LSU game, it was Jalen Milroe. There's no doubt. Probably coming out of the Georgia Ole Miss game, it was Jackson Dart.
Well, I guess this could have told you. Well, if you just had that right there in front of you.
These are the coaches now, not media members.
Yeah,
These are the 16 coaches.
But if you had those 3 quarterbacks in August, that's the only thing you knew about the season. Your first team quarterback was going to be Jackson Dart. Quinn Ewers was going to be second team. Third team would have blown you away with Sellers.
No doubt.
But 1 and 2, would you have figured?
Ole Miss beat Texas to win the SEC championship.
Yeah, and Georgia and Milroe. If Milroe's not on there, Alabama's had a disaster season because of the offense.
I would have thought they both missed playoffs.
Yeah.
If you told me Beck and Milroe weren't top 3.
One did.
I know. If you told me Beck and Milroe weren't third team, at least, I would have thought they missed playoffs.
Yeah, and these are the coaches now. So I thought that said a lot about where the coaches. I mean, when they're playing Alabama, they always talk about how hard it is to prepare for Jalen Milroe. But in their eyes, he's not one of the 3 best quarterbacks in the SEC this year.
I think if you ask the one guy you don't want to face when he's on, they would all say Jalen Milroe.
Yeah.
But just too inconsistent.
Now, he was part of it last year. He was an All-SEC quarterback last year as he led Alabama to the SEC championship and the college football playoffs. He's not there this year. And then another thing I noticed from this coaches voted All-SEC team, and I know he has a lot of stats, it still felt like he was underused. First team, not second, not third, first team All-SEC running back, Jarquez Hunter, Auburn. That's voted on by the other 15 coaches.
I think that tells you that a lot of coaches watched that and were like, That's the best running back in the conference. Yeah. Now, maybe Hugh doesn't give it to him enough, but that's the guy we think is the best running back in the conference.
He's there with Dylan Sampson, who statistically is a monster.
Is the best. Well, he gets the ball, though.
Yeah.
Well, that's the interesting thing is it's been the year of the running back. I mean, there's been, from Scattaboo to obviously Ashton Jeanty, there's been great running back play, not necessarily in the SEC. Like Sampson does have the numbers, and he kind of has carried that offense, but you didn't get what you thought you would get Alabama-wise production. The same with Georgia. Both of those teams always have very, very productive backs.
We'll talk about the future of the college football playoffs in our next segment, so you can make appointment viewing there on that. Remember, give us a thumbs up as you watch the show throughout. Encourage others to do so in the chat room at some point during the show. Just tremendous numbers over the last couple of months. Thank you guys so much. At Next Round Live, like and subscribe there on all the social media platforms. Little T working hard there. Tyler and Forrester behind the glass, EG, is on a news conference or on campus somewhere almost every day. So we appreciate you so much. Tim Melton and the Meltdown guys every afternoon at 2 o'clock, the whole family up here as we work our way towards the holiday season. One more thought in this opening segment. What is being billed as the 6th largest upset in Las Vegas history, after Brownie tells us about our friends at Academy Sports.
It's quite the tease. Was it a game?
You don't
want to tip it?
Would you just tell us about Academy, and I will break that story on the other side from our friends in Las Vegas.
Academy Sports and Outdoors, the brand new location, 4610 U.S. Highway 280. It's the old Best Buy in the Target Shopping Center. You get great selection of trusted brands like Nike, Stanley, Brooks, Carhartt, Blackstone, Yeti, Titleist, Shimano, and more. Shop online or on the app with free in-store pickup. Enjoy free shipping to your home with purchases of $25 or more. But go in and see the brand new store right there in the old Best Buy in the Target Shopping Center, Academy Sports and Outdoors, Highway 280. Jim.
It's Wednesday. What does that mean, Tyler?
I'm sorry, what?
Odie's Team Trivia every single Wednesday night. Me and Brown will be there, the original location at Crestline, with our man, Will Haver. Get there early, enjoy some of the incredible food from Rodney Davis. Great night to get chili, a side of that grilled cheese, maybe chili and a corn dog. Fantastic food. Both locations, the newest in Edgewood. Live music every Friday and Saturday night. It's a Birmingham institution. Join us tonight, 8 o'clock, Odie's Team Trivia.
Before we get deep into this, I do not have the entire list. I've got where this one slots in, and then I'm going to ask you guys which are bigger than this. But in the 6th greatest upset in Vegas history, according to the Vegas Journal, slightly ahead of Buster Douglas over Mike Tyson and Rich Strike winning the Kentucky Derby. I don't even know what that is.
Do you know when Rich Strike won the Kentucky Derby?
So this is slightly ahead of Buster Douglas over Mike Tyson.
Dude, and that was like 77-1. I mean, it was crazy. Whatever that number was. I'm talking about Douglas.
Arizona State winning the Big 12 championship is the 6th greatest upset in Vegas history at plus 10,000 to 1.
Wow.
Holy heck.
So if you had that ticket, is that $1 wins you 10,000?
$100.
Yeah,
right?
it's $100.
$100 wins you 10,000.
Yeah, because it wouldn't be 10,000 to 1. It would actually be 1,000 to 1. So
okay. Plus
well,
10,000.
no, I mean
plus 10,000.
Plus 10,000 is what it says.
Plus 10,000 is.
It said 10,000 to 1. I don't know what that means though.
Yeah, I think that's 100 to 1. Yeah.
Okay. It is the 6th greatest upset ahead of Buster Douglas, and right behind the live betting odds of the 2004 Boston Red Sox to go on and win the World Series when they were down 3-0.
See, that seems like a safer play. I know that sounds crazy, but you've got a team that's, in the ALCS. They're obviously really, really good. They've won 100-plus games. All they've got to do is win 4 consecutive against another really good team. I know it had never been done before.
And then go on and win the World Series.
But, there's no way if you would have been like, okay, $1,000, you're going to win $100,000 if Arizona State wins the Big 12. I'd be like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a waste of $1,000.
Burning money,
yeah.
Right? I don't know what the bigger upsets are. In my head, the first thing that popped to mind was Stanford beating USC that day.
That was a 40-point dog?
41-point
41?
dog.
But I mean, I don't know if that would count because you'd have had to bet that on the money line.
Right. And like I would say, when the Americans upset
the Russians
back in 1980,
yeah.
I mean, that number might have been like plus 500. It might have been 5-1. It wouldn't have been any crazier than that.
Yeah. Can somebody do the research throughout the show? You guys are fantastic. Find us the 5, or other than the Red Sox over the Yankees to win the World Series.
I think one of them was the Rams in 2000. I think that they were 300.
After the injury?
They were 300-1 because they were 3-13 in 1998.
And then lost their starter?
Yeah, and then lost their starter, but I think they were 300-1
to go on and win the World Series.
No, to win the Super Bowl. Yeah, Super Bowl 34. I think, and that's when they really, after that year, they adjusted the odds. So you really can't get anybody over 150, 200-1.
Yeah, 6th greatest upset in Las Vegas history is what Kenny Dillingham and Arizona State was able to do.
What Indiana did this year is just a little more impressive than Arizona State.
But I would say that, yes.
Where were they picked? Do you remember where Indiana was picked?
Indiana was picked 17 of 18.
That's pretty bad.
Next to last.
Yeah, next to last.
Purdue was last. Do you remember, or Northwestern?
I don't remember who was last, but it was 17 of 18, and then obviously Arizona State was 16 of 16.
Yeah.
I mean, so we have got 2 teams in this college football playoff that were picked at the bottom of their conference. Pretty remarkable,
and that's why a lot of people are saying this is the worst college football playoff we've ever had.
Yeah. Philip, though, one of our great viewers and listeners up in Huntsville, points out, can you pull up the 12-team bracket, Forrester, if you would? He says, if you look at the top half of the bracket, that's one thing I'd love for us to do is get to a consistent bracket. But this is going to be true. He says the top half of the bracket really looks like a playoff bracket. He says, that looks like the playoff bracket I expected. It's the bottom half that doesn't look like a playoff bracket.
Except that Georgia's in it.
Yeah, if you flip Georgia and Arizona State.
Yeah, that looks like the old 14 playoff, right?
Yeah.
But down low, you got SMU versus Penn State, Indiana versus Notre Dame, winner gets Boise State, winner gets Georgia. He's like, that doesn't really look like the playoff bracket. But up top, Clemson, Texas, Tennessee, Ohio State, winners get Oregon and Arizona State. It looks like a playoff bracket. It does look like the tale of two worlds there.
It really does.
Yeah.
I mean, Georgia, if they had I'm not putting words in your mouth. I don't know. You seem to think the Carson Beck thing's a little overvalued.
Well, they did flip the betting odds.
Yeah,
Texas is second favorite to win now behind Oregon, and Georgia dropped to third. So they flip-flop, not by a ton.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you want a ticket on Georgia to win, you wait until it's official
That's
news.
Right. Yeah, just to let it get as big as it could get, right?
Because I think this thing will probably go to 8-1 if Gunnar Stockton is named the starting quarterback moving forward.
Yeah, my only point was going to be Georgia, with a healthy quarterback, was just gifted a heck of a bracket. I mean, to be the 2 seed and get that much better of a bracket than the 1 seed was remarkable.
We'll go back to the game on Saturday. It looked like there was no shot that Georgia was going to win. If Texas wins that game, they've got that bottom bracket, and it looks like Texas walks.
Cakewalk, yep. Whoever the 2 seed was with the rest of that bracket was going to look that way.
Yeah, they did. It does look good.
I mean, Oregon would flip in a second, wouldn't they?
In a heartbeat.
So what they're trying to do to fix that, and yes, according to Greg Sankey and others, it could be corrected by the next time we do the playoffs. What they discussed last night in Vegas, what Greg Sankey is saying, and everything else that's happening in the football world being brought to you by our friends, Dr. B. Dr. B, such a great dude. He's got LT's hair looking fantastic. Ready for another trip down to the Floribama.
We will be leaving out tomorrow, so can't wait to get down to the Floribama. We'll give you guys more details on that. I've already talked to a lot of people that are going to come by and see us for Army-Navy this weekend. But look, Dr. B is the absolute man. Had a great conversation with Dr. Beckenstein yesterday about some new treatments that are coming in 2025. We will be giving you guys information about that in the next few weeks, so stay tuned. But if you're starting to thin out, how about the gift of hair, the gift of regrowth? You can get it for your husband. You can get it for yourself this holiday season. All you got to do is call Dr. B and that great staff today, 205-319-0316. I do that non-invasive treatment 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time on the couch. That is it. For more information, t3hair.net.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at ScottForresterTV.
At Academy Sports and Outdoors, we believe the best holiday fun happens out there. On the driveway with a new basketball hoop, out back around the fire pit, or up in the deer stand. No matter your fun, we've got it. The right stuff at the right price. Academy. Have fun out there.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters. It is the will to prepare to win." Hi, I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryant Bank, and I can tell you that our Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that is right for you. At Bryant Bank, we specialize in community banking and offer personal and business loans, checking and savings accounts, mobile banking, and treasury management services. Stop by one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama to find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken.
Hey, you. It's the holidays. Give cheer a lift. And at New Balance Birmingham, we got the gift. That holiday vibe? Find it inside. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280 right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
This hour of the Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
At Academy Sports and Outdoors, we believe the best holiday fun happens out there, on the driveway with a new basketball hoop, out back around the fire pit, or up in the deer stand. No matter your fun, we've got it. The right stuff at the right price. Academy. Have fun out there.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Before we get to the college football playoff discussion, the way it's going to look into the future, immediate future, the most dangerous place to be on a Monday night after Brown tells us about the golfers.
Your teases.
I know, man.
That's an incredible tease, Jeff.
I'll be on my couch, but I can't wait to hear it.
The Golfist. Don't go to the office. Go to the Golfist. And it's a great place to get out of the office for those corporate business meetings, the Christmas parties. You can even get gift certificates for that loved one on your life. It's always 70 degrees, no wind, no rain in the Golfist. You don't get delayed by weather. You can play hundreds of courses from around the world, courses you know and love and you've seen on TV. Bring friends, play different competitions, scrambles, best ball, alternate shot, or just play your own ball. TheGolfist.com is the website to get more information and to book one of the bays there. They've got a location already open on Highway 31 in Vestavia, coming soon to Highway 280 and in Trussville. Great idea, by the way, gift certificate for that golfer in your life. They're digital. They can arrive on Christmas Day. You can pre-schedule that, or they can mail it if you like. Get all the information. Get out of the office. Go to thegolfist.com. That is thegolfist.com.
Confirmed yesterday, as believed late night, Monday night, that Joe Burrow's house was broken into while he was playing on Monday Night Football. This continues now a string of Monday Night Football break-ins of players who are playing on Monday Night Football. That includes, earlier this year, both Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. You know where they're going to be on Monday nights.
Yep.
I guess you don't know what the security is at the house or everything, but more of a break-in, and it happened again this time to Joe Burrow.
I mean, obviously, I'm not going to call them inside jobs, but obviously people that are casing these houses know these guys are not going to be there. This is when you go out and you get a couple of these Canario, the canary dogs that are banned, like in Australia and the UK.
What do they do?
They will rip your trachea out. You put a couple of those in your house.
Okay.
And
how do I train them not to rip my trachea out?
Well,
That's the tricky
probably,
part?
Yeah, that's probably the tricky part.
This is so random, Dunaway, that this story came up. Because the other day I was
So now everybody knows what Burrow's house looks like?
Well, yeah, but here's what's crazy about it, Lance, is the other day I was doing what I randomly do. I was scrolling TikTok, right? And I don't know why this got served up in my algorithm, probably because it's somewhat sports adjacent. But there's this lady, she's a Cincinnati fan, and she's doing a TikTok, and she's like, you see that house behind me? That's Joe Burrow's house. And I'm like, I would not have thought it's that easy to get to Joe Burrow's house and stand out in front of it and do a TikTok. I mean, that's pretty wild, isn't it?
I mean, it really is. I mean, because you got some crazy-ass fans, and I can't even imagine the stalkers, the women that would be beating on his door.
I know. That guy's worth a ton of money.
But you have tours in Hollywood, right? Since the 70s of where
you do.
But usually
they've got gates,
big walls, gates, security people, all that stuff.
And by the way, pretty underwhelming. I don't want to. I mean, have you been on one?
No, I haven't. No.
Most of the stars' houses a lot smaller than you would think.
Wow. I mean,
and
property's
you can't really
pretty
see
expensive out there.
I know.
Like that Burrow house in Cincinnati, I'm guessing that's about pull it back up, Tyler, $3.5 million house, but that thing in Beverly Hills is probably $13 million.
Yeah. I mean, you're right, Dunaway. I mean, he's not going to be there. I just can't believe him knowing he's not going to be there. He doesn't have security there, or something like that.
I mean, what do you guys think on this house? I mean, it's kind of modest for a quarterback with his money, right? I mean, I like it.
Better than Graceland?
It's bigger.
Would you rather have Graceland or Joe Burrow's house?
Joe Burrow's house.
Damn, he's got a close-ass neighbor, doesn't he?
He does. That's a big old house, though. I bet they don't ever see him.
The neighbor's got the better house, right?
Which one's the neighbor, the right or the left?
I think the one on the right.
Oh.
Yeah, I would say...
I would think the one that's centered up in the frame is his, but we're looking to find a better picture.
Both on a golf course. Looks like they're both on a par 5.
It looked like it was overlooking water, too. I mean, that's a nice house. There's no doubt, but...
Yeah. I wouldn't want either one, to be honest with you. I don't want to live in Cincinnati or Memphis. If I had to choose, I'd take Burroughs.
I've never been to Cincinnati. We had the discussion.
I went frequently back in the early 90s.
You didn't like it?
It was okay.
Our man Wes McClooney is from Memphis, and Bo O'Neill, who's on our sales team, is got a daughter that lives in Memphis, and so they were talking about Memphis, and if you know the right places to go, it's an awesome city. I have never been a fan of Memphis. Is Cincinnati below Memphis?
I like Cincinnati.
No. Cincinnati's above Memphis.
Okay.
I just wouldn't want to live there.
I'll tell you the best part of Cincinnati is when you come out of northern Kentucky and you make that turn and go down the hill and the whole cityscape. So that's actually a pretty stretch of road right there.
It is pretty. It's very dangerous.
That strikes
the
me.
road is or the city is?
At one point in the early 90s, it was where I forget how many people died on that turn coming down the hill towards the bridge.
Yeah.
Which was always a lane closure on that bridge.
The picture that Tyler's got right there, that's what I picture Cincinnati weather being all the time.
Oh, just hazy and rainy.
Just like Seattle.
Just like winter.
And by the way, you probably saw it on Hard Knocks, but like when you go into Cincinnati and I can't remember what interstate I'm on right there. Is it 80 or something like that? 81 or I don't know what it is. The Cincinnati practice facility is literally right on the interstate.
Yeah, I remember Marvin Lewis when they were on Hard Knocks, and he was like under the underpass doing an interview.
Yeah, I mean, it is. You're looking down into their facility.
Yeah, in the 90s, they would have people that had to go out and walk the field for broken glass in case some was thrown off the bridge.
Damn.
The last time I went through there, they had the dome up, the inflatable dome or whatever, but it's right there on the interstate.
Back then, I don't know how it is now, very cheap ownership group there in Cincinnati. All right, to the college football playoff discussion after LT tells us about our friends at Hydra Live.
IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, compression therapy, now weight loss therapy, all under one roof. We had our man Daniel Jones in studio yesterday, hooked us up. I feel fantastic. I got the Carlos yesterday. They've got a variety of bags. Look, if you want to head off, a lot of people are getting sick right now. Brown, you sound a lot better, by the way.
I'm getting there, man. We're getting there.
Yeah, but one of the things you can do is you can go see our friends at Hydra Live Therapy. A great gift would be a stocking stuffer, a gift card from our friends. 2 locations in Birmingham, Homewood, Highway 119 in Greystone, also Tuscaloosa. Very important. Mention the next round, 20% off all the great services. For more information, hydralivetherapy.com.
And our friends at Urology Centers, Alabama.com. 16 great locations. We're near you, so all you men out there watching can stay on top of your health, treating all your urological needs from prostate health. I mean, just a little bit of a swollen prostate can cause back problems and so many other problems for you. Kidney stones, the very painful thing. Vasectomies, they handle that. Everything in between. Visit UrologyCentersAlabama.com. 205-930-0920 to make that appointment. 930-0920 or go online today. UrologyCentersAlabama.com. Okay, first some facts. Things that are contractually in there that I did not know. They can change the format of the college football playoffs before 2026, but it has to be unanimous. So 10 people have to all say, okay, yes, we will do that. Through 2031, it doesn't have to be unanimous, but they are signed on through 2031 with a college football format that includes this, 12 or 14 teams. So if what is being reported is correct, there is no way we can go to 16 teams before 2031. 12 and 14 teams.
31?
Yeah.
Wow. Ooh. Man, that's a long time.
There's got to be a way. I mean, television wants it. I think the different leagues want it.
I mean, maybe if everyone agreed they could do it. But contractually, they're tied into 12 or 14 teams through 2031.
More importantly, in the moment, who are the 10 people that have to vote to actually...
Conference commissioners, right?
The people that are part of the college football committee. There's 10 people. That includes the conference commissioners in Notre Dame.
So the conference commissioners from the ACC and the Big 12 are not going to go with this, are they? Or the Group 5?
I think it depends on. Let me get to the rest of the stuff, and then we'll discuss it. Starting next year, it's just the 5 highest ranked conference champions, because we went from 6. Remember, we went from 6 to 5 Power 5s and a Group of 5. We've only got 4 now, so it's the 5 highest rated. So we're already there to that one. That's there through 2031. First round buys, though, does not have to be unanimous, and they can change the way that looks through 2031. That includes whether auto bids get the buys or not, whether it can be just the rankings, 1, 2, 3, 4. The biggest complaint about this. That can be changed without it being unanimous starting next year.
Okay, so I know we're in the moment right now, and a lot of people look at the bracket and they're like, this is just not equitable. Like, how did Oregon get this draw with the best overall season? But if it plays out, Oregon wins a national championship, a lot of these underdogs lose, do you think everybody's they won't bring it back up? I mean, there's outrage right now, but something has got to actually happen on the field to continue the outrage.
I personally believe... And it's important that this doesn't have to be unanimous, because if you're the Big 12 and the ACC, you'd love the bye to stay, right?
Sure. Right.
But it doesn't have to be unanimous. The desire to have the 4 best teams get the bye, your plan all along, is what I think most people, other than those that have an interest, would like to see. The bracket looks totally different if your buys are the 4 highest ranked teams.
There's no doubt.
Right?
Yeah.
Then those second round games are not in jeopardy of being what they could be.
which is the potential of massive blowouts.
Once Arizona State and Boise get introduced to the mix, is what you're saying. Yeah,
could be massive blowouts. Maybe it won't be.
So, I mean, in theory, as we've talked about on the show, like our top 4 buys could have been Oregon, Georgia, Texas, Penn State, Notre Dame in some order there. And that was the question I was going to ask you, and you may not know the answer to this, but when you say it doesn't require unanimous, does that leave a path for Notre Dame to get a first-round bye? Because they're shut out right now, for those that don't know.
I think Notre Dame has signed on through 2031 to not get a first-round bye. But I guess if we made it the non-auto, that would open it up for Notre Dame.
Yeah, because that's the thing that blocks them. Yeah.
So that would be a big – they don't want to join a conference, so they can't get a bye because they're not conference champions. If you're just doing the 4 highest-ranked teams, yes, that would open the door for Notre Dame, I believe.
Yeah, and I do think if we didn't have buys, if it was just 12 are in, now or if we did have buys, but it's 12 in, we're going to reseed them, we're going to seed the top 4 to get buys. Notre Dame this year would have been a top 4.
Greg Sankey keeping it very close to the vest. He's going to wait until they all get together in Atlanta next week, including the folks from the College Football Playoff Committee, to discuss how the process went this year. And this isn't just all about Alabama being left out. It really is about the SEC only having 3 in and not 4 in. One thing they have suggested if they go to 14 is the Big Ten and the SEC, and this was brought up apparently in Las Vegas, the Big Ten and the SEC getting the buys, to which what happened? Major pushback from the other conferences.
Oh, yeah. They didn't like that. They didn't like that deal.
Not shocking.
But again, if you're the Big Ten and the SEC, and really you control really all of it, because if the SEC and the Big Ten say we're not doing it this way,
out.
Fox and ESPN is going with them.
Yep.
So they control it all.
Well, but I mean,
at some point, if they push back on things like, well, we think the SEC and the Big Ten should get the buys, and they're all like, no. Eventually, somebody's going to say, well, I'll tell you what. You go see what you can get for y'all's playoffs, and we're going to do our playoffs, and we'll see who pays the money.
And nobody wants that, and it would be
the ACC and the Big 12. They would be like, okay, keep us in.
Well, but the carrot on the stick was always for them in a 14-team playoff, where only the SEC and the Big Ten get a bye, is they get 2 spots. To which this year the ACC would be like, you mean like we just got?
Yeah.
Like I got to make a deal to get that? I just got that. Now, I don't think they're going to moving forward, and surely they're smart enough not to think that, right?
I would think. I don't know, though. Like, if we did guarantee these spots, I don't have a problem, because you're always going to have 4 SEC teams. You're always going to have 3 or 4 Big Ten teams.
Yeah, we did not get 4 SEC this year.
I know. But if you would have, I don't think there would be an outrage. My point was going to be, like, if the Big 12 was contractually guaranteed 2 teams, can you imagine if, like, Iowa State on their 3rd loss, 10-3, was getting into this?
Yeah. But there again, I mean, if I'm the ACC, I look at that and I'm like, we would have had 3 this year. I mean, don't you think Bama would have been 13 and Miami would have been 14?
Probably.
Yeah. So if I'm the ACC, I'm like, this deal sounds kind of good. Like, I could end up with 3 in the playoff. The Big 12 they're still 1.
Greg Sankey did everything but say it will look different next year. How different it looks, I don't know. Maybe it's just who gets the 4 buys. It'll be different next year. Josh Pate last night, without us ever bringing it up to him, I think, echoed what Klatt told us last week. In the works is taking the committee out of it altogether for the SEC and the Big Ten, and having that enhanced championship weekend, which when Klatt said it, I have fallen in love more and more with this all along.
Oh, I mean, because Saturday the 21st is going to be incredible with the triple header. But if you had that multiple times in a season, with everything on the line.
But on that Saturday, you'd have triple header on Fox, triple header on ABC, all play-in games to the college football playoffs.
Yeah, but then you would still have, would it be another triple header coming up the week following? So I'm just saying you get that many more games, and that another great Saturday.
It would be 11 days later when you have the triple header,
So, and we've discussed this before. It's basically a way that you get a full day of action for guaranteed spots for the SEC and the Big Ten.
Yeah, and it's no committee voting for it. It is just all wins-loss record inside the conference.
And I guess the only question is, how do you deal with Notre Dame? That's really the only question you have to answer for that, right?
Well, they would still have their path if they meet a certain ranking. But however they decide to do that, whether it's a committee that decides that, who still does the seating or whatever.
Yeah, you would have to have a seating committee. Yeah. I mean, you can't just do this and not have a seating committee. Yeah. So I guess you would still have to have a ranking weekly to have a seating committee, right? So you're still going to have the ranking. So I guess Notre Dame would just have to meet a certain spot. You've got to be in the top X, and then you'll get seated accordingly.
I am to the point. Now, what this does, this is the downside. Everything that you like there's always a downside. I am so on board with it just being basically it's like the NFL. You play your way into the playoffs. There's no ifs, ands, or but about it. The only downside is the only games that matter at that point are conference games. So you could schedule as tough as you want or as light as you want out of conference, and those games really would not impact your way to the playoffs.
But don't you think the natural inclination would be to schedule tougher out of conference?
I don't know.
Well, because you're selling tickets and TV money.
But the problem is, like, those games don't count against you.
Right.
But if you play a Florida State and you get beat to hell and back, and the very next week you got to play Georgia, that's where it becomes a little difficult.
I mean, I don't think you schedule like 4 powers, but I am saying I don't think you also just say, like, we're only playing Mercer and Miami, Ohio.
You want to make money yourself.
That's right.
Off your season ticket package or your skyboxes.
And your conference has to encourage you. Like the SEC still has the rule where you have to play a Power 5 team. I mean, that rule's not going away, I don't think, because they need that for ESPN. So that's the other thing is like the SEC or the Big Ten would have to step in and say, we've got our TV partners to think about. You can't just schedule a bunch of nobodies. Y'all got to play a good schedule.
You could help out the teams by going to 9 SEC games. Again, at that point, you're not hurting the league.
That's right.
You're increasing a whole extra game of inventory for ABC, ESPN. Big Ten already does 9 games. And then you're still, it's the record, that extra, an odd number of game, ironically, helps you break some tiebreakers.
I think in this year's format, the 9-game schedule is a non-starter. Like if this is the only format we ever had, and it was never changing.
As long as there is a committee.
Yep. The 9-game format is a no-go.
Unless you're guaranteeing a big number of SEC teams in it.
Yeah.
There's no incentive to go to 9 games.
But in the CLAT model, 9 games maybe isn't the worst thing.
No.
I mean, because again, it's all going to come down to your conference games no matter what.
Yeah.
And really, I try to avoid being the guy who's like, guys, this is the way the NFL does it. Let's just do it that way. But this is the way the NFL does it. Like, your Rams played the Bills, ultimately making the playoffs. That game helps, but it doesn't kill them. If your Rams just win your division, you're fine.
Right.
So, I mean...
So the divisions are conferences.
That's right, at that point. Now, I know a lot of people are like, well, this is college football. We don't want it to become the NFL. And I get that. I'm fine with that.
Ask Clemson. It worked out for them this year.
Worked out just fine. Yeah. They played out of conference, lost to the only 2 good out of conference teams they played. Got drilled by one of them and lost by another one in the last moments. And they're in the playoffs because it was all about conference for them. That's the model moving forward. Maybe.
To me, I'd be 14 teams, 4 guaranteed from the 2 big ones, 1 from the Big 12, 1 from the ACC, a group of 5. That gets you to 11. Notre Dame can make 12 and 2 wild cards if we wanted to go to 14 that way. And then the wild cards could be the ACC, the Big 12, or it could be another SEC Big 10 loser that happens to get upset. Because there's the downside. 6 this year, South Carolina going to play number 3 Tennessee on this enhanced championship Saturday. If South Carolina beats Tennessee, now here's Tennessee ranked so high, now they're out.
Yep.
While the winner of Alabama, Ole Miss.
And if they win, they've still got to go play Ohio State,
Yeah. But at least if I'm Tennessee, I know that I've got a home game and I've got to win it to be in. Yeah. It's already a playoff game.
The playoff games start on SEC championship weekend.
Yeah, I would, in the past, I would think teams like Alabama would not want this. But now where we are,
they would have wanted it this year.
Yeah, where we live in a world where Alabama missed a 12-team playoff.
Yeah, it worked out any format you've ever been in, it worked out for Alabama most cases. Back in the poll days, it worked out a lot of times.
This was the only year that it didn't work out.
Yeah, there were a couple of times Bama got jobbed in the poll era, and there were a couple of times they got the benefit of the doubt. It was a wash. It worked out.
Yeah, but that's what's crazy is like they got the benefit of the doubt when it was a 2-team in the BCS, when it was a 4-team multiple times, and when it expands to 12, they don't get the benefit of the doubt.
That's the one time they quit getting the benefit of the doubt.
Well, one different factor in all that is what? Who's the head coach?
Nick Saban at Kalen DeBoer.
It wasn't an iconic coach.
Yeah.
Do you guys still think
and 3 losses?
And 3 losses.
Based on the way that game played out, because I had this conversation with somebody yesterday, do you think if Saban's still the coach, Alabama gets in over SMU?
I think that's an added check in Alabama's box just because of the hatred and/or love for him on our television draw.
What do you think, Brown?
Do you think Bear Bryant, Bobby Bowden, Joe Paterno, Woody Hayes over the years in the polls, bowl bid, whatever, got a little boost up?
Yeah, he did. They did. I think it would be so stunning that Saban had lost to 2 6-6 teams. I don't know how to answer that.
Yeah,
I mean that would be the most stunning part of that.
Yeah. We'd have to take him off the ventilator.
Yeah.
Do you want to be in the playoffs, Coach?
Who's still Nick Saban?
Yeah. It'd be crazy. All right. Top of the hour here. When we come back, the recycling of coaches in college football. The offensive coordinators that were announced yesterday are all familiar faces, and a lot more college football to get to, including you in the chat room, which is brought to you by our friends at MyBookie, mybookie.ag.
Code next round if you want to sign on to mybookie.ag. As you were saying that, Dunaway, I was just now pulling up some of the point spreads. Lance, I don't know if you've seen any. Well, we talked about the big movement for Georgia, right? They are now not your second betting favorite. They were at this point yesterday still before the bank news leaked out. So that has obviously changed there. You can go play that at mybookie.ag, code next round. Mybookie.ag, code next round. The national championship winning odds, Oregon, a 310 favorite, plus 310. Georgia still at plus 320 right there if you want to.
No value.
There's no
Stay
value
away
there.
from it.
Texas at plus 350. That's all at mybookie.ag, code next round. When you're playing there in the sports book, I'm going to tell you about the casino in 1 second. Tennessee, a 7.5-point dog at Ohio State. Texas, an 11-point favorite at home against Clemson. Penn State, 8.5-point favorite against SMU there in Happy Valley. And the Fighting Irish, a 7.5-point South Bend favorite over the Indiana Hoosiers. Now, when you use code next round at mybookie.ag, you could play right there in the sportsbook, 50% bonus up to $1,000 on your initial deposit. That's a 50% bonus up to $1,000. But a lot of you are like, man, I want that casino bonus too. All right, we're going to do both. TNR Casino, you could use that one if you want to use code TNR Casino and get a 300% casino bonus up to $2,000 on your initial deposit right there at mybookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. Code next round for the sportsbook deposit bonus. Code TNR Casino for the casino deposit bonus at mybookie.ag. Code next round and code TNR Casino.
Brown, tell me what is in 14 days.
14 days, I'm going to guess Christmas.
It is Christmas. We're only 14 days out. Guys like to procrastinate. Here is a great gift for the wife, girlfriend, mom. This Christmas, treat that special someone to the gift of luxury from Birmingham's best day spa, the Woodhouse Day Spa, located right there at the Summit Shopping Centers off of Highway 280. You can choose from a menu of over 70 options, including massages, body treatment, skincare, waxing, nail services. As part of this, how about the Series 6? Series 6, here's the way it's going to work. You purchase 5 of any of the services, you're going to get a 6 free from Stuart and the fine folks up at Birmingham's Best Day Spa, the Woodhouse Day Spa. You can order that special person gift online 24/7, birmingham.woodhousespas.com. But again, you can also stop in Summit Shopping Centers, ask them about the series of 6. Buy 5 of the great services, you're going to get the 6th absolutely free right there at birmingham.woodhousespas.com.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late-night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
At Academy Sports and Outdoors, we believe the best holiday fun happens out there. On the driveway with a new basketball hoop, out back around the fire pit, or up in the deer stand. No matter your fun, we've got it. The right stuff at the right price. Academy. Have fun out there.
If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals, and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, CoverCrimson.com and TheBarnAuburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or TheBarnAuburn.com. Sign up today.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
The beauty of the holiday is at the center of your table with the New York Butcher Shop. Their selection of USDA certified Angus prime rib roast, beef tenderloins, and fillets, as well as premium pork and lamb cuts, are the finest selections available in the market and are hand-cut just the way you want. With side dishes handmade by their professional chefs, your holiday meal is complete. Visit one of their two locations today in Cahaba Heights or off Highway 119 in Greystone. Place your order today. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Big get for Texas A&M, as On 3 Sports is reporting. They're expecting Micah Hudson, the big 5-star plus recruit last year for Texas Tech, big receiver, to end up at Texas A&M. That from On 3 Sports and their projection desk of where he's going to end up. When you're 5-star plus, you're a playmaker there. I did not watch a lot of Texas Tech football, though, this year to know how Micah Hudson ended up doing. But everyone is raving that would be a great get there for Texas A&M. We start hour number 2 of the show today. LTD and be with you. Tyler and Forrester, Taylor Korn, and Emily Grace McWhorter all up here working for you on this show number 847 today. And we'll be at the Floribama with a live show on Friday. And then Saturday morning, our traditional Army-Navy show from the Floribama. So if you are one of the great amount of folks that come out and see us when we're at the Floribama, we are down there Friday, 9 to 12 Central with our show, unless we've changed the time, 9 to 12?
No, 9 to 12. We'll be in the main room, which is the songwriter's room. Sometimes they call it that. That's where we always are for Army-Navy weekend.
Up on stage, and then the Army-Navy show. Do we know the time yet on Saturday?
What time is kick? Is it 3?
Do not know, 2 maybe?
Yeah, I think it's 2 or 3, so we'll
maybe
do
10 or 11. We got to clear out of the room because we got
to clear out of the room.
Yeah.
We'll do an hour.
Yeah.
So that'll be on our video platform only on Saturday. But if you're in the area, come hang out at the Floribama and enjoy the time down there. Part of the show this hour being brought to you by our great friends at Storm Restoration Roofing. That is Greg from Pell City. We're about to talk a little college football and some other stuff that's going on in the world. Greg from Pell City wants to make sure that the world stays outside of the interior of your house thanks to that great roof you have. He'll get on that roof and give you a free, no-cost roof inspection, absolutely free, full roof inspection with no obligation. All you have to do is call 205-542-3531, 542-3531, or look him up, Greg from Pell City, on Facebook. Free quotes, free evaluation. He can handle storm damage, insurance, roofing claims, roof replacements. Best part about that free roof inspection, sometimes you think, man, my roof is probably in need of a new roof. It's been a while. He'll get up there and let you know, I think you got 2 more years, 3 more years, 5 more years on that roof. And that can save you money in the long run. A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau. Central Alabama's most trusted name is Greg from Pell City. 205-542-3531 and Storm Restoration Roofing. All right. Teased ahead to the recycled offensive coordinators. First of all, congratulations to Mike Shula. He's now being from a South Carolina offensive analyst to expected to be named today South Carolina's new offensive coordinator.
Yeah, Dowell Loggins going to take up the Appalachia State job. And, this is almost Nick Saban-like. You come in after 17 years in the NFL, you're 1 year as an analyst, and then you get promoted to OC with Lenore Sellers. I know Mike Shula behind the scenes had his fingerprints all over Sellers in the development there.
You'd see him on game days on the bench, one-on-one working with the Lenore Sellers.
I don't remember what the stake bet was, but you had Mike Shula being a D1 coach. I don't know if we ever had a time.
I think it's head coach.
It was division. It was FBS head coach, and I think it ends 2025.
Well,
boy, better hustle.
But it's not going to happen.
This is what happens, though, right? If Sellers is incredible and they get to the college football playoff next year, and this is an offense that scores 35 plus, and I know we're about to get to Chimp Limsey, but there are so many retreads. Somebody will give Mike Shula an opportunity based on where he is right now.
I don't think you're out of this bet. I think Sellers could have a huge year, and if
but I think it ends 2025 , so we're about to play 2025.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I will give you next season.
Yeah.
It is so outlandish that Mike Shula is now the OC for South Carolina.
But could you see like a Charlotte-type job?
Yeah.
Charlotte just came open, and they've hired a coach. I know all that. But if a Charlotte-type job came open?
I don't know what he wants to do. He was head coach at Alabama.
It's going to be hard to be the coach of Charlotte, right?
I don't know if he wants to be a head coach anymore.
Well, Bill Belichick was the greatest coach in NFL history, and he's about to take one of the shittiest jobs, at least over the last decade, in North Carolina.
More on that in a second.
That's a point, yes.
Yeah.
Maybe
he is.
I don't know if he'll ever be a head coach again. It'll be fascinating to see because he is taking over a quarterback that, for the first time ever, South Carolina had an all-SEC quarterback. Now, it was third team with Lenore Sellers, but that's the first time in South Carolina history. It has never happened. Now, they've been in the league since 92, so the history only goes back that far.
I'm surprised Tannehill didn't sneak in there.
I thought the same thing, but I saw people in South Carolina saying that last night. It's the first time anybody has ever been a all-SEC quarterback, first, second, or third team at South Carolina. Maybe they only did 2 teams back then.
Yeah, I know it would never happen. What about if UAB opened up next year?
I don't think he would come to the state. I really don't. Chip Lindsey is the new offensive coordinator at Michigan. North Carolina was a hot mess this year. He's been at Auburn. He's been at UCF. He's been the head coach at Troy. He was at Arizona State. And now he gets the Michigan job. Chip Lindsey, a friend.
Yeah,
I appreciate him so much.
Yeah,
he seems to fall up.
No doubt. Local guy, former high school coach right here in our state. So he's a guy you want to pull for. I had somebody reach out to me, our friend Charlie, big Michigan fan. What do you think of the hire? And I was like, Underwood deserves better. And I would assume if you're Underwood, I know you're getting a ton of money, but there had to be a conversation. These are the guys we're looking at. Yeah. At least if I was Underwood's dad, I would want to have that conversation.
It sounds bad when I say fall up. I think it shows how respected Chip's play calling is, his X's and O's are, that he keeps getting hired by really good people that know offensive football. He just ends up with teams that end up not doing a whole lot.
Yeah, I would agree, and it is weird. It does seem Lane Kiffin before he got to Ole Miss, where you would fall forward into these jobs with not necessarily doing a great job. So behind the scenes, if you're Sherrone Moore, there is a lot of pressure to get this hire right.
Yeah.
As a former offense coordinator. With all that said,
but don't you think
this is by far the best quarterback he's ever going to have?
Don't you think Sherrone Moore, it's his offense still? You're going to run his offense.
But we are getting to a point where it is so difficult, and you're seeing it with Lincoln Riley. Like, there's so many other things that need to be going on. You've got to get somebody in, and I think you had a little bit of that this year with Kalen DeBoer and Nick Sheridan. Like, I think DeBoer had a lot more confidence, and Nick Sheridan, great guy, in Ryan Grubb. And I think he was able to defer to him a lot easier. It's really difficult to be a head coach in today's college football and call the plays.
But there's only one major category North Carolina led the conference in offense, and it's rushing offense.
That was because of Hampton.
And they had a quarterback injury. Their quarterback got hurt in that very first game at Minnesota. So they had a quarterback injury. So I'm not going to hold Chip Lindsey, his feet to the fire for them not leading a passing offense.
But it was Max Johnson, and you guys saw Max Johnson for 2.5 quarters, and you saw him for 2.5 years before. I don't think the results were going to be different.
My only point is, if I'm a Michigan fan, I feel like we're not opening the offense up any at all. We've just gone and got a guy that is running the football for us.
And follow me on this next analogy. This next coaching staff has all of a sudden at this position turned in to the state fairgrounds or the Birmingham race course, where they invite a band out that maybe was popular 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Friday at the Oaks, I saw Everclear.
Yeah, but they hadn't had a hit in a long time.
Right, yeah.
Phil Longo was the Wisconsin offensive coordinator. He had been pretty good at North Carolina. They took him to Wisconsin. Not
Disaster.
the case. Here comes Jeff Grimes. Really a hot name 2-3 years ago, right? 2 years ago, 3 years ago in the offensive world.
BYU, Baylor.
Yep.
Jeff
really
Grimes is the new offensive coordinator at Wisconsin.
See, that's one of those things I stay away from it. It's like Wisconsin. It's almost like you've just got to go back to what they did best, and that's fine. Offensive linemen that are there 3 or 4 years, really good running backs, and just run the football and play great defense. If you're an innovative guy and you go there like Phil Longo, it seems like a place that you're going to die.
I don't get it.
Well, I mean, Grimes seemed to be really good at BYU and then for a minute at Baylor, right?
Yep. You're saying you don't get Grimes taking the job.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't get it. I just feel like it's a place you would normally
I like the hire for Luke Fickell, though. I think it's a good hire.
Yeah. I don't think Luke Fickell has made a bad hire there.
We get to 4 downs in a second. I've got one other point to make on these head coaching searches before we do that. After we tell you about our friends at Hemp Hill, they bring you Lance's Lock every day, lanceslock.com. I had a mybookie.ag win last night. It was with Arkansas on the money line to win at the Jimmy V.
Good win for you.
Did
not look good at halftime.
Nope.
No, they were down 15 in the first half. They come back, cut the lead. Then they get up 18 in the second half, and they almost blow that.
Yep. But Arkansas wins. Tennessee wins. Nice little Jimmy V money line parlay last night at mybookie.ag. Play the games with lanceslock.com, brought to you by Hemp Hill.
I did not have a great night. We were on the slightly losing side just because we had 3 games we lost by 0.5 point. So it was just one of those crazy nights in basketball. Again, man, it's a tough sport to watch coming down the stretch when you have one of these teams laying 6.5 and they win by 6. But that happened 3 different times last night. This weather has been insane, from being kind of hot yesterday for December to being really cold this morning. You need to make sure your heating is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Our friends at Hemp Hill Services, they can do it for you. Make the phone call that I seem to make way too many times a year. 205-229-2090. Adam, Chad, Andrew, all the guys there ready to take your call. Hard to stop a train. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
And our friends at Way to Wellness, personalized plans that work for you at Way to Wellness. Leslie and her board-certified team down there at planforme.com, the website, to get all the details. That includes occasionally career opportunities as they continue to expand there because business is so good. You're thinking about your health in 2025, losing some weight can help. Medical supervised weight loss is what you get with Way to Wellness. The injection therapy, they have that for you. Meal replacements, all right there with no contracts, no sign-up fees. And the first consultation is free. Get more details and find out how it can work for you. Planforme.com. Planforme.com. It's Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. Both the West Virginia and the North Carolina search has turned out to be, both are being compared to Greg Schiano being hired at Tennessee. Apparently there is a divide between the trustees at North Carolina and the athletic department who's doing the hiring at North Carolina. Because apparently it was a North Carolina trustee that offered the job to Bill Belichick.
So he went rogue.
Who accepted the job.
Yeah.
Problem is now they got to convince the athletic director, the school president, and the athletic department to hire Bill Belichick. So I don't know, as it developed.
I have not seen any update during the show. No,
nothing yet. As we went to bed last night, Belichick was in with his 400-page administrative Bible, was in on the job. Just North Carolina hadn't announced it yet because apparently there's some hang-up with the athletic department actually wanting to hire him or hiring him or offering him the job.
First of all, I can't believe he wants to take this job. Second, what happens if you're Bill Belichick and Carolina actually passes on you?
I mean, you're done, right?
Well, yeah, you're done for sure.
It'll be a bad look.
It would be an awful look because I don't know where you guys rank Carolina. I think we all agree it can be a really good job.
I don't think it's an awful job.
It
but
just hasn't been.
It's not what I thought Bill Belichick would be taking if he was going to be a college coach. I mean, I was reading this morning, a lot of the NFL guys were like, the whole thing is here, he was stunned by how little attention he got in the NFL ranks. That none of these NFL jobs wanted Belichick, and it surprised him a little bit. And apparently he's also gotten feelers on like the stuff that might come open that you're not going to factor into this. So he had, if he wanted to coach, he had to go somewhere collegiately.
So he's not going to be like the coach of the Bears. Or
it doesn't appear.
Yeah. Look, I think Dave Canales turned around Carolina a little bit at the end, and they're playing much better football right now. Almost beat the Eagles last week. Almost beat your Bucks 2 weeks ago. Both postseason teams, it looks like. So, like, if that didn't work out,
that may be the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
What, the Bucks might be a postseason team?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, Forster's Falcons aren't trending in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, the year Tom Brady went on to win the Super Bowl, you never thought that team was good.
I never did.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody did.
Yeah.
Anyway, my point was going to be, if you didn't hire Canales, like if I'm a Carolina Panther fan and you got Bill Belichick, I'd be like, okay. But if I'm a North Carolina fan, this might make no sense. I would not be excited.
For Belichick?
Yeah, I can get behind it if it's my NFL team. I would not be behind it if it's my college
I mean, it's just different worlds in the NFL and college.
You guys will remember, a lot of our audience will remember, the only other comparison you have to this was 3-time Super Bowl winning coach Bill Walsh going back to Stanford, where he was 17-17-1 in 3 seasons after he had won his 3 Super Bowls.
John Robinson did it.
But John Robinson didn't have the success in the NFL. That's why I'm
to an NFC Championship game, though.
That's why I'm comparing.
Okay.
That's why I'm comparing Walsh. And I mean, Walsh was a genius on the offensive chalkboard, right? He developed the West Coast offense. He was the 49ers in Joe Montana, and he went back to Stanford, and he was 17-17-1. Now, he didn't have the portal. He didn't have the NIL. So it is a little different for Belichick, but there is no guarantee he doesn't go back and in 3 years go 17-17-1.
Right. I mean, it's just.
Oh, I'd bet on that.
It's so different, those 2 games. Obviously, it's football. It's X's and O's. But the way you have to delegate, like Nick Saban, the best we've ever seen at the collegiate level, wasn't very good in the NFL. I know people can say if Drew Brees would have been there, it would have been different. Maybe, but we had a little bit of sample size. Didn't work out. But he's the greatest college coach we've ever seen. I think Belichick is, you've got to, just based on Super Bowl wins, the greatest NFL coach of all time. I just don't think it would work at this level.
If you're, let me ask it this way. If you're Belichick, would you take that job knowing it's not 100% alignment because a booster has gone rogue and offered you and the AD's not behind you? Or do you take that and say, if I got the job, I'm stronger than the AD anyway?
Well, if he gets
because
the job,
my booster overruled him.
The only way he takes the job is if he gets total control, just like Nick Saban,
right?
In Tuscaloosa,
which doesn't sound like that is on the table right now.
Well, I'll tell you, so Bubba Cunningham's still the AD, right?
Right.
I think so. Yes. Very powerful
How?
AD.
How does this story get out?
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Like, it's almost to the point, like, we almost have to hire Belichick now because this guy did get rogue.
This whole deal's been a complete mess because remember, I'm not going to say they screwed up. The Mac Brown thing got contentious because Mac coached that last game against NC State and then went in his post-game press conference and say, let me tell you all how this played out.
Yeah.
They wanted me to announce my retirement. I said, I'm not upstaging the NC State game. I want my guys to go win it. And then they said, well, you're fired. So Mac went out and just spilled all the tea. And Bubba Cunningham was basically behind the scenes. Now, Lance, you're trying to replace Mac Brown, and you've got division in the ranks, and it's going public. This has been as messy a coaching search as you could ever have.
And then there's West Virginia, where Gordon Gee, I always forget how to say his name.
Gee, I think.
Yeah, it's Gee.
One-time Vanderbilt president, now at West Virginia.
Likes a bow tie.
He's outgoing. He's leaving.
Bye-bye.
And he was saying to Brett McMurphy, Rich Rod could return to West Virginia as the prodigal son, but a certain fraction of the fan base, maybe more than 50%, hate him. He's public enemy number one for the way he left and what they've been through since he left. And it would not apparently be a overwhelmingly welcomed return to Morgantown if he came back at this point in time. So that is sort of the hang up with the discussion on Rich Rod back to West Virginia. I don't know if he's their top choice. I don't even know if he's interested in the job. He's happy at Jack State, I'm sure.
There would have been 2 or 3 years Rich Rod would have had West Virginia in a 12-team playoff. I think there would have been a year or two he would have had them in a 4-team playoff.
Almost had them in the 2-team national championship game.
Yeah, I think those West Virginia fans, much like LSU fans hate Nick Saban, would they take him back?
Yeah.
I think West Virginia,
based on along the way, they would have taken him back.
Well, based on, and look, and I know Rich Rod hasn't had the success that Saban had after he left, but Rich Rod won a conference title this year. I wonder if he would take that job. I know it's a lot more money.
I don't know.
He seems very happy right now.
Everything I've heard from Jacksonville is he is very happy. He's built a nice house there, or he's at least added on to a house. I think he's invested in some of the local, which you can stay invested in local businesses and coach elsewhere. That's not that big a deal. But he has put roots down in the community. It didn't feel like this was, I'm just going to take this job and see if I can get somewhere else in a couple of years. What do you think West Virginia pays? $5-6 million?
Yeah.
I mean, Jack State, Jim, if they paid him $1.5 million, that's got to be capped out, right?
Yeah.
At a place like Jacksonville State, there's no way they're going to pay him much more than that. He's going to easily quadruple his salary just by going there. If it's a money decision.
Probably a Rita decision, right?
Well, I guess. I don't know how much she liked it. But if it's a money decision, Jack State can't play that game.
Before we get to our spotlight, tell us about our friends at CPAP Plus. CPAP Plus, and we'll do a college football spotlight, which, by the way, is it may end up being the biggest shun in Heisman history.
Yikes.
But we're all okay with it. We'll talk about it after you tell us about CPAP Plus.
Yeah, get in and see the O'Neill brothers. They are CPAP users themselves, so they know exactly what you are looking for. With hundreds of 5-star Google reviews, trust CPAP Plus for all of your CPAP needs. CPAP Plus, where every night matters. If you're looking for the best CPAP gear with personal service you can trust, visit CPAP Plus. 3 convenient locations: Pelham, Highway 280, Trustful. For the next round customer out there, $20 credit when you mention the next round towards the purchase of a new mask system, a CPAP cleaner, even a travel CPAP machine. Stop by today, CPAP Plus, where you're going to find the best service and equipment, all in stock, ready for you.
The College Football Spotlight.
It is presented by McCurry. If you need a car, van, or truck, rent from McCurry Van and Car Rental. Local rental company you can depend on with all kinds of vehicles to choose from: trucks, SUVs, passenger vans. Easy to rent, in and out fast. Athens, Muscle Shoals, Huntsville, Coleman on 2nd Avenue Northwest, Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa. Reserve your rental today, 256-559-1003 or McCurryRentals.com. That's 256-559-1003 or McCurryRentals.com.
Ashton Jeanty is not going to win the Heisman Saturday night. He's not going to win it.
That becomes apparent, I think, yes.
It's going to be Travis Hunter. And to show you how iconic this is, Ashton Jeanty is in such a small club that only 2 other times has a running back gone over 2,000 yards, over 20 touchdowns on a top 10 team. It's only happened 2 other times in college football history, and they ran away with the Heisman Trophy. And Ashton Jeanty is going to finish second. That's how good Travis Hunter is.
Yeah, Travis Hunter is that good. I do think it is unfortunate because every year it seems like most Heisman voters are followers. And when they hear what the narrative is and who you should vote for, much like 1997 with Charles Woodson, it was like Ndamukong Suh had the incredible Big 12 championship game, and all of these guys were told they were supposed to vote him to win the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah.
He ended up being a finalist, had a good year that year, but just had one fantastic game. And, I think Jeanty, I don't know if everybody really watched his games and then really watched Friday night, but this is a guy that I don't want to say single-handedly because it's a pretty good Boise State team, but without him, they're a 4-loss team.
Yeah, I would say a lot of Heisman voters watched their first 4-quarter Boise State Ashton Jeanty game Friday night.
If not, it was their second one after the Oregon game.
Yeah.
That's the only 2 times they probably watched him was against UNLV and Oregon.
Rashawn Salam is the last person to do what Jeanty did this year. All those stats and a top 10 team. That was 1994 Colorado, correct?
Yes.
The other guy was 1983 Mike Rozier. to go 2,000 plus, 20 touchdown plus. And I know what you're thinking. Derrick Henry pops to mind, too. Did Derrick Henry not hit these numbers?
Yeah, but he won the Heisman.
Oh, well, these two did, too, didn't they? Rozier and Salam, they ran away
Nebraska and Colorado, yeah.
So what number did Henry need to hit? I'll look up his...
Over 2,000 yards. Henry easily had that, right?
Yeah.
And then over 20 touchdowns. He surely had that, right? And they were definitely a top 10 team.
Hang on. It's going to take me one more step to get his 2015 numbers.
By the way, while you're doing that, the amazing part of Jeanty's 2,000-plus yards is that 1,882 of them are yak yards after contact. 1,882 yards after he was hit.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people just think about Jeanty and his speed, his vision. But he is a strong dude. And, the first I heard compare him to Marshall Faulk was Brock Ewart. But when you looked at Marshall Faulk, his body type was kind of pudgy. And he still was able to do amazing things. Jeanty is ripped up. I mean, this dude, if he stays healthy, is going to be a difference maker at the next level.
So fast, too. Henry, 2,219 rush yards and 28 touchdowns.
Yeah. And they were definitely a top 10 team.
Won the national championship.
So put Henry in this group, too. So Jeanty becomes the fourth guy to do this on a top 10 team. And then, and I'm sure Rozier and Salam won the Heisman, right? I'm right about
Salam
that.
definitely did.
Yeah.
Did Rozier win it?
I thought he did.
I thought it was a Miami quarterback.
I thought he did as well.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So that's a little spotlight there on what Jeanty was able to do, and that's 1,882 after contact. Amazing numbers there. And a testament to maybe how bad his blocking is.
I mean, I guess so. You're right. He is having to shed a lot of tackles, isn't he? I mean, we've said all week you put him behind a SEC offensive line, and look what that guy does.
I know the defenses would be different, but that's why I think at the next level he's not going to. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think who is the great running back right now in the NFL? Derrick Henry.
Yeah, but he's at the tail end of his career.
Saquon Barkley.
Saquon is it.
Yeah, I think Jeanty can have a Saquon-like career. I really do. And Saquon's had to battle the injuries.
That's crazy if you could get that from Saquon Barkley. All right, that's our spotlight brought to you by McCurry Brownie.
McCurryRentals.com. Hard to find right there. You can find them at McCurryRentals.com.
We'll talk to Fozzy Whittaker on the other side about the college football playoffs, the SEC teams, and their chance to advance. You mentioned Saquon Barkley. Most people believe MVP in the NFL goes Josh Allen. Saquon will finish second.
That's what's going to happen. I mean, Josh Allen has just been that good. I mean, even in a loss, Josh Allen was the best player on the field by far this past Sunday in L.A.
Our show being brought to you by our friends at Gray's Tree Service. 4 pines down at LT's yard, 1 tree down, chopped up and taken away at Brown's yard. They can make your home safer, look better, and do a lot more for you right there, Gray's Tree Service.
Yeah, the dude's name was Country that I hired back in the day. Yeah, probably 15 years ago. My neighbor said, don't hire this guy, but I hired him to remove a tree. He left his girlfriend in the car. Him and a buddy got out. They tried to do it. Country almost ended up being a nail hammered into my ground. Tree missed him by 2 feet. This is something you don't want to get into. You don't want to do what James Sr. and Dunaway did, trying to remove a tree with a chainsaw and a truck. These are the professionals. They will come out. They will do it safely. They will remove all the debris from your lot. Family owned and operated for over 25 years right here in Birmingham. Make sure you call them. Tell them the next round sent you. You can scan that QR code. Call 205-281-6100 or just visit graystree.com.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
Happy football season. At The Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McCorder, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today. Are you tired of buying your CPAP mask and supplies online only to be disappointed? It's time to visit CPAP Plus, your locally owned and operated CPAP shop that prides itself on personal service. Come see what you're buying at CPAP Plus with 3 convenient locations in Pelham, Highway 280, and now open in Trustful. Drop by for a free CPAP checkup and free filters, no appointment needed. Plus, sign up for their giveaway for a chance to win a free travel CPAP machine. Just Google CPAP Plus or visit any of those 3 locations.
Hey, this is Matt Roth, the franchisee of Walk On Sports Bistro in Birmingham. With the kickoff of football season, come visit us at one of our 3 locations, Stadium Trace, Greystone, or Trustville. Come enjoy our scratch kitchen menu while watching one of our 80 TVs. Whether you're looking for a pre- or post-game celebration, game day, or date night, we've got you covered. It's all about the win at Walk On Sports Bistro. Walk On, where everybody needs a little playing time.
Things fall apart. There's even a book about it, but that doesn't mean you have to break the bank to fix them. Ryan Brown here for the next round. Our friends at Mortgage Right have a new renovation option that will make repairs and other home improvements easy. If you've recently purchased a home and find yourself short on cash, or you're looking to buy a fixer-upper, Mortgage Right's renovation loan program can help you spruce up your space. Repairs can be made to your roof, plumbing, flooring, and more with the help of top-notch mortgage professionals. So get your fix by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR. And MLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Looking for a great place for that boring meeting? Leave the office and go to the Golfus. What about corporate events like board meetings, sales meetings, customer appreciation events? How about the Golfus? Watch parties for football and basketball, parties for birthdays or couple showers. The Golfus is a great place for those. The Golfus has Birmingham's best golf simulators and man caves in Vestavia on Highway 31, opening soon in Trustville and on Highway 280. Bring whatever you want to eat or drink, even bring your own clubs. Get out of the office. Go to the Golfus. Book your spot now at thegolfus.com.
At Academy Sports and Outdoors, we believe the best holiday fun happens out there. On the driveway with a new basketball hoop, out back around the fire pit, or up in the deer stand. No matter your fun, we've got it. The right stuff at the right price. Academy. Have fun out there.
Back half of hour number 2 here being brought to you by our wonderful friends at roback.com. Use that promo code TNR20 gets 20% off your holiday gifts right there at roback.com. Brownie?
All right, let's talk some college football playoff. Texas Longhorns in it. We'll talk about them and the entire playoffs with our guy Fozzy Whittaker, the former Texas running back, now with ESPN and the SEC Network. Welcome in, Fozzy. How are you today?
Good morning. I am doing great. Can you all hear me well? And is you all's day going well so far?
Can hear you, and our day is going great. And if you're a Texas fan, didn't end the way they wanted it to in Atlanta, but to make the playoffs, let's just start there. I mean, that first year in the conference, for Steve Sarkisian to take a team to Atlanta and be in overtime for the conference championship, I know you didn't take the trophy home, but for Texas fans, that had to feel like a decent flex to do that in year number 1.
I think the logical Texas fans, that made sense to be able to flex that way. But we know there's nothing logical about college football just in general, and that applies to Austin, Texas as well. There are a lot of people that are frustrated, and understandably so. There's probably nobody more frustrated than Steve Sarkisian and the rest of this Texas Longhorn team that really felt as though they were the most complete team in the conference and had an opportunity to do something that would have been very special. It's still teams that haven't even played in an SEC championship game, let alone win it. And Texas having that opportunity in year number one definitely should be celebrated. So I think for most of the majority of the people within the Austin area and those Texas fans that are logically looking at what Texas was able to do in year one for the SEC and make it to the CFP in the 12-team format, I think you got to salute the Texas Longhorns and the job that Steve Sarkisian has been able to do in 2024.
I'm going to hold my judgment on that. And I'm going to say that because, and I said this to you when we were in Dallas at SEC Media Days, I'm going to take my rest of the SEC hat on, put it on, and said, man, we can lead a horse to water. We can't make him drink it. We gave you guys the easiest possible schedule possible, and you got to the championship game and you lost. So what's your best win so far at Texas, in your opinion, as an SEC Network analyst? Where is Texas's signature win this year, in your opinion?
Yeah, Texas doesn't necessarily have that eye-popping signature win. The best win would technically be against A&M and Kyle Field, a team that went 8-4 this season, was ranked in the top 25. And Texas, the reason why a lot of teams aren't ranked anymore is because Texas beat them. So the top 25 argument, it kind of doesn't hold the same type of value or the weight, because after Texas beat them, they were no longer ranked. And that shows up as blemishes on Texas's strength of schedule. But if you look at it from the standpoint of the totality, using even some of the metrics that the CFP committee utilizes, Texas is ranked near the top of all the playoff teams in overall strength of record, strength of schedule, and then just the physical dominance that they've been able to assert on the defensive side of the ball. That resonates to just what football is all about. And although they did not get it done against one of the top teams in the country and the best team that they faced 2 times this year, I don't think as an analyst that tells me everything I need to know about Texas not being ready to compete against some of the top tier talent in the country. I think if you look at history, and if you look at this season, but history kind of proves itself that it's a lot of teams that don't beat Georgia in general. And that's this year. I know Alabama was able to do it, but what did Alabama need to do in order to beat Georgia? Well, they had to have some super heroic performances. And Georgia played probably the worst game from a sloppiness perspective and still had an opportunity to win that game. Now, the Ole Miss loss that Georgia faced, that was a straight butt whooping, but it's not too many times that you see a Kirby Smart team get handled the way that Ole Miss was able to handle them. And the weather kind of played, not giving them an excuse, but the weather did play a little bit of a factor in the way that game played out. Ole Miss handled their business and did what they needed to do. But just from the standpoint of what Georgia is, from the standpoint of what Texas is, Georgia's a really good football team. Georgia has a lot of history. Kirby Smart knows how to win the big games. I think Texas is a really good football team, but Texas has to prove that they can do it at the big stage. They were able to do it last year from a standpoint of winning the Big 12 against a so-so Oklahoma State team who has fallen flat on their face this year. But then they go and play against a team in Washington, and Washington does enough to be able to handle Texas that L in the playoffs in the first time that Texas was able to be there. So I'm seeing this continual trend of Texas not being able to win the top end talent games where you're going up against a top 5 opponent. And as soon as Texas can figure that out, then Texas will have the opportunity to compete for national championships. Otherwise, they'll be hanging right below that status level of trying to reach into elite company that we've seen Alabama and Georgia being able to do, and what Michigan was able to do last season.
Fozzy, we had the opportunity to have Quinn Ewers on our set back in Dallas in July, SEC Media Days. He is he's a kid you want to pull for. I mean, we were all very impressed. The season's been a little inconsistent. I mean, he's had great games against Michigan, Florida, threw a couple of picks this past weekend. I know he's been injured a little bit, but my question to you, and I think this is fascinating, Texas could go on and win a national championship with him, But what are the chances he's back at Texas next year? If he's like, I don't want to go to the NFL because I ultimately want to be a first-round guy, that's not the projection right now. I want to be back in Austin with Arch Manning there. What do you do if you're Steve Sarkisian, and what have you heard about that potential situation playing out?
Yeah, that's a very realistic thing that may be able to play out, a scenario that a lot of Texas fans do not want to see happen, to be honest. From my personal perspective, I think Quinn leaves and declares for the NFL draft. I think regardless of how the playoffs end up and how this season may end up, I think it's a successful season for Quinn. I think it's a successful season for the Longhorns. And I think having the opportunity to kind of go out on a high note, and let's be real, Quinn has not completed a full season in college since he's played college ball. Being able to have the opportunity to still get a pretty good draft stock. I'm not saying he'll go first round, but to make some money as maybe a top 3, top 4 round quarterback drafted in this upcoming NFL draft, that probably bodes pretty well instead of putting your body at risk again a year from now, given the fact that Arch Manning will see more time next season. And I don't know if Quinn came back, if that would look like a 2-quarterback system or what that offense would look like. But I do believe the dynamic that Steve Sarkisian has wanted to create with this quarterback room was, Arch, you're going to sit behind Quinn as the starter. Quinn's going to go out there, perform at the level that I expect him to as a quarterback genius and an offensive guru. Sark has put quarterbacks in this position to be successful. And he expects Quinn Ewers to perform in the way that they have prepared and the history of what Sark's been able to do. And the goal is to get Arch Manning to come in next year and basically do the exact same thing. So I do believe Quinn does declare for the NFL draft. I do believe next year we see Arch Manning take control of this offense. But in a world or a scenario where that doesn't happen, I'm not quite sure Quinn would be the full unsung starter, let alone still on the team, because we know how many players have entered the transfer portal whenever they're no longer viewed as the number 1 QB1 guy. So it's a lot going on with this time frame and in the world of college football, but I believe Sark has a great handle of it and knows how to handle very high-profile quarterbacks.
Fozzy Whittaker, our guest, the former Texas running back. Now you see him on ESPN and the SEC Network here on Sirius XM at Fozzy Whit on social media, at Fozzy Whit. There was this school of thought that if you didn't get the 1 seed, you wanted the 5 seed, which is what Texas got. Then I saw Oregon get the 1 seed. I'm like, I'm not sure you didn't just want the 5 seed, Fozzy. I mean, this is... It was wild to see Oregon kind of get punished for getting the 1 seed, but that whole 5 seed thing felt like it played out for Texas. Do you like that path?
I do like it. I do wish, though, if it's all said and done, that Texas was able to win a conference championship at bye week, right? The 2 seed, because they weren't going to jump Oregon as a 1 seed, but the 2 seed would have looked really nice to be able to get that additional week, get Kelvin Banks another week to get healthy, get Isaiah Bond another week to get healthy. And that could serve and bode well. I really, the issue that I have with the format of college or of the CFP this year, and I expect it'll be addressed in some form or fashion next year with some small tweaks and then an overhaul the year after that. But the conference championship losers, and I'm not saying this just because Texas lost, but the conference championship losers kind of get the short end of the stick. And if we want to say Penn State and Texas kind of got a good draw, considering who they may face in the first round and who they may face in the second round, that's one train of thought. But playing in the conference championship, when you got Indiana, you got Ohio State, you got Notre Dame, you got these other teams that didn't play that championship game that got an additional week to rest up. It's essentially a bye week for them. They may have to play earlier on December 20th and December 21st, but they didn't have to play on December 7th. So they got that additional week to be able to get healthy, to be able to do an extra scouting. And I think that's something that would need to be addressed because the losers of these championship games are now having to go in play a week earlier than what the teams they're playing against had to face. And I think that's not fair. I think that the conference championship game should still be heralded in meaningful for college football and for the playoffs. And I think if we're going to do anything to make everybody play the same amount of games and still have those top 4 seeds have that bye, because that should ultimately be praised for what they were able to do. And maybe play-in games may be something that we feature. So many people talked about Miami and Alabama and Ole Miss and South Carolina, and rightfully so. All of those teams could very well be one of the top 12 teams in the playoffs. But if we can have some sort of play-in game or have some sort of even playing field with the number of games that the teams play, I think that will help create a little bit more parity and some more excitement for what the CFP is going for. And it should set up for perfect matchups. But for Texas's perspective, being able to play against Clemson, that won't be an easy feat. I know Clemson was the 12th seed, but at the end of the day, Cade Klubnik is a really good quarterback. He got their team rolling. If Texas is able to get past that, playing against Arizona State, I think Arizona State probably is one of the hottest teams coming into the CFP playoffs. That it's favorable because of the strengths that Arizona State has, and the strengths that Texas have that kind of play into what Texas wants to do. So it is a favorable matchup and a favorable lineup for Texas from that perspective. But I do still believe that the conference championship game should have some merit, and these other teams shouldn't get a bye. They should be able to play a game at that same time as well.
Fozzy, you mentioned Isaiah Bond, and I know it was kind of wide receiver by committee, and Matthew Golden kind of ended up being that go-to guy. But did you guys and Texas fans expect a little more when Bond transferred from Alabama to Texas?
I think at the beginning of the season, we got the Isaiah Bond that the expectation level was there. The production was there. The playmaking ability was there. The speed was there. Him being able to do what he was able to do was exactly what Texas fans believe. As the course of the season went on, he wasn't healthy, and that was visible in really his last 4 performances. I can say, and I know the most recent 2 performances that he had, the injury was what was truly put on display, as he wasn't able to run routes. He wasn't fully full speed. I think that plays a major factor. DeAndre Moore is another receiver that played banged up and trying to get back to his old self. And thank the God, Steve Sarkisian was able to recruit the way that he has, and Ryan Wingo stepped up in a big way. Silas Bowden also given some valuable time, and in the emergence of Gunnar Helm as a receiving threat really helped mask some of the injuries that this deep receiver room felt. But Isaiah Bond, I think if he was completely healthy and if he had the opportunity to play in a season where he didn't have to worry about these ailments and wasn't hampered by something that's been on lasting over the course of the past month, I think his production and level of impact for this Texas team would have been similar to his production and impact of what he had in the first half of the season. So I wouldn't say it's disappointment from my perspective. I wouldn't say that he didn't live up to expectations. I thought he did exactly what he was supposed to do. Injuries kind of just derailed the impact that he could have had late in the season. And hopefully the time frame that he has now until the 21st gives him opportunity to get back to as close as full speed as he can, and he can go out there and make those dynamic game-changing plays, which we know he's capable of doing.
At Fozzy Whit on social media is where you're following me here on Sirius XM, CBS, ESPN, and the SEC Network and Longhorn Network. Fozzy Whittaker, the former Texas great. Fozzy, thank you for the time. Always great talking with you.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Hope you all having a blast, and I do believe you as a running back. Ashton Jeanty is unbelievable and is having a great season. So
there you go.
He's getting some of the accolades, but yeah, he's doing something.
I know you. I know you're a little biased, but if you were a Heisman voter, and maybe you are, would Jeanty be your guy?
I'm not a Heisman voter. I hope one day I do get that chance and opportunity. Jeanty is still second in my book, and I understand the statistics. I understand what he's doing is absolutely amazing. 29 touchdowns, over 7 yards a pop, got dang near 1,000 more rushing yards than the second leading rusher in the country. I think Travis Hunter has done things that we haven't seen done. And to do it at the level that he's been able to do it at, I think is impressive. And I think that's why I lean Travis Hunter, just because we've seen people go both ways, but we haven't seen people excel both ways in the way that Travis Hunter is. And I'm not saying he's the best corner, but he is up for the Thorpe, or was going to be up as a, semifinalist, or he was in there the last previous round before the finalists were selected, up for the Belenikoff Award, up for the Maxwell Award. Like, he has so much potential and ability. I think Travis Hunter is just one of the most dynamic players in the country. And I think that what he's been able to do is something that not many people, if at all, have been able to accomplish at the college level.
Yeah, means a lot coming from you. Thank you, Fozzy. Take care.
Absolutely. Y'all have a good one.
All right, buddy, you take care. Fozzy Whittaker with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
By the way, another one of the things I say on the show that when I say them, you guys think I'm crazy.
Okay.
Stake bet with Chip Brown back in the summer on Isaiah Bond, because I thought I knew what he was getting in Isaiah Bond. I said in 12 games he'd have 500 yards receiving or less. I lose the stake bet because he had 510 receiving yards.
Oof. That's a tough loss. Bad beat right there, Jim.
But he was the guy I thought he would be. And
well, some of that was injury, to be fair.
It is what it is. You got to play 12 games of grown man football, and he was what I thought he would be.
That's about what he was at Bama.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, I thought Silas Bolden coming from Oregon State would be a much bigger factor, and he wasn't. And again, it really was. You start to look at this. Gunnar Helm did separate himself as one of the better tight ends in football, and then Matthew Golden was a guy down the stretch, but they didn't have, like when you looked at him, and I think Golden's going to be really good, but you weren't like, damn, they've got a Jeremiah Smith or a Ryan Williams.
Yeah, but you said exactly why I said that bet. Texas fans were going crazy like they were getting Isaiah Bond, and I thought he would be exactly what he was in Alabama, part of a room that he really doesn't stand out about.
If you leave a program like Alabama and you were starting there and you were an impact guy at times, I think that's why they got excited. Maybe thought there was much more meat on the bone, but you were dead right. I mean, that's just kind of like what we said about DJU.
He had one catch for 22 yards. He's banged up, but that's what he had in the SEC championship
Cost
game.
You a stake?
To get him. No.
That was a regular season
the
only?
extra 530.
Okay.
He's got 532 now.
Okay.
Yeah, so he had 510 in the regular season. And I probably could go find some mop-up games that he did it against lesser competition because, well, that was the entire Texas schedule.
Wow. Well, he did not play against Vandy, so he did miss one game.
Yeah.
So you got a break there. I mean, to be fair, he had five yards of receptions against Oklahoma. One catch, 5 yards against Oklahoma.
Is that a big game to Texas fans?
It is. Of course, they won 34-3, so it's not like it hurt his team. Biggest game he played in all year, 2 catches, 11 yards against Georgia.
Yeah.
Is that
a big game?
It was a game in Athens. It was.
How do you do against Florida?
3 catches, 55 yards. He only had one 100-yard game, and that was against UTSA. 5 catches, 103 yards.
I mean, it was
only 5 touchdowns.
A big average receiver.
Well, I mean, and what do you think that guy got? He probably got $500,000.
Nah, he got a lot of money.
I think he got at least $500,000.
Yeah, to bail on Alabama.
You're paying him $100,000 a touchdown.
Yeah,
and two of those touchdowns came against UTSA. Like he scored 3 touchdowns against the rest of their schedule.
Yeah, and that's when he was healthy and not healthy. I just don't think he stands out in any receiving room. So when he left, I said, that's not hurting my feelings. It's bad that he's leaving because he has such an iconic moment in the Iron Bowl history. But I didn't think Alabama lost anything in him when they lost him.
But if it had been him,
you give me what Bernard brought
I was going to
in?
say, but if it's him, Williams, and Bernard, that's a pretty good trio of receivers had he stayed.
Yeah.
I mean, Alabama didn't really have. I mean, who was Alabama's third best receiver to you guys? Behind Williams and Bernard.
They needed somebody.
All the tight ends.
I mean, it was Oots or Dupree or whoever, right?
Yeah.
They didn't have really a third receiver. That's why Kobe Prentice is in the transfer portal. That's why Caleb Odom is headed to Colorado. Probably.
Kendrick Law. Caleb Odom never worked his way under the field.
I know.
Did he?
I know they didn't have a third receiver, and that's what I'm saying. Bond would have at least been that.
Yeah, I just thought
That's which, by the way, is what he was at Texas.
Some more stuff in this segment, but first I want to remind you that the fine folks at New York Butcher Shop are standing by to help you out, help you enjoy the upcoming holiday season, just like they did at Thanksgiving.
Hey, look, if you just want to be a hero and pick up some great stuff from the New York Butcher Shop, again, we did the spaghetti and meatballs last week. First time we had done that, but he does a version of shepherd's pie there. Just fantastic food all of the time from Jim and the great staff at the New York Butcher Shop. But if you're getting ready for this holiday season, you can order everything right there. Stop at one of the 2 locations, the original Cahaba Heights, Highway 119 in Greystone, from the fresh meat, specialty sandwiches. Don't forget about lunch or dinner, those deli sandwiches, fine selection of great wines and desserts. New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well done service.
Also, our friends at the Pants Store, holiday season, ready to roll. Nothing says I love you as an Alabama and Auburn fan from a parent, from a boyfriend, from a girlfriend, than going to the Pants Store and buying them something they absolutely want. You worry about, God, am I going to buy something that they really want this Christmas season? Well, you can get what they want at the Pants Store, pantstore.com, or go by the locations in Leeds, Birmingham, Huntsville, Tuscaloosa, and Auburn. It's your game day headquarters for all your Alabama and Auburn sweatshirts, polos, hats, and quarter zips from Gentile, Antigua, Cutter and Buck, and Horn Legend, and all the ladies' dresses and such. I mean, you saw E.G. and Little T dressed from the Pants Store almost every home game this year, and it comes with free alterations and free gift wrapping. Nothing says Roll Tide and War Eagle like the Pants Store, pantstore.com. I don't know if you know this or not, but as you watch the NFL on Sundays and Mondays and Thursdays, can you believe there are 8 teams, 8 of them, out of how many, 32?
Yep.
So what is that, a quarter of the league?
Yep.
That currently are 3-10 or 2-11.
That is a bit hard to believe. It's that many.
Yeah, it's hard to believe.
Right now, if the draft was tomorrow, Las Vegas's Raiders at 2-11 gets the first pick. The Giants get the next pick at 2-11.
And that's interesting. There are 4 teams that need quarterbacks.
Both those do.
Yeah. Raiders, Giants, Titans, and Browns. I think those are the 4 teams that they are going to circle in on quarterbacks, and both of those guys want Shedeur Sanders.
And there are 6 teams that are 3-10, just one wiggle, and they get in the conversation for the first overall pick. So 8 teams that are 3-10 or worse right now in the NFL. That's a lot of bad. For as good as we have at the top, that's a lot of bad.
And here's what's hard to get on the same page, because I do think at times teams have laid down for the number 1 overall pick. I really do believe that. But you've got 2, it seems like dead men walking, in Antonio Pierce with the Raiders and Brian Dable with the Giants. And if you're ownership and you go to those guys and you're like, we need you to lay down, are you really going to do it knowing that this is like your lasting look? You've only got a few games to win some games, or a few games left, to win a couple of games. If the organization asks you to lay down, what do you do?
I probably lay down and make sure I get that paycheck so they don't fire me right now. It depends on what the wording of my contract is.
I know I'm not keeping my job either way, right? I'm at least...
I want the money.
If you're one of those fan bases, if you're a Raiders or Giants fan, do you want them to lose these games in order to get?
I've been in this world. Absolutely, you do.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, once you're 3-10, 2-11, or whatever, you're just like, look, I may as well get the first pick out of it.
See,
now,
I was just a weirdo. But the Rams were never in that situation outside of when they went after Sam Bradford one year and Jared Goff.
Yeah.
Those didn't work out, and to me, those weren't like for sure franchise guys. I ended up getting excited about it after the pick was made, but I never wanted them to lose a game.
It's hard, and I still sit there. It's weird, Lance. It's almost freeing. Like, I'll sit there and pull for the Dolphins, but if they lose, I'm like, at least we're going to get a good pick out of it. Now, this is several years ago.
Now, if I could get Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels last year, different story.
Different story. But I still watch all the games. I only get 17 of them, sometimes 18 in a good year. I only get 17 of them, so I'm still going to watch the games, but it's almost like free football. Like, I don't have free football right now as a Dolphins fan. We have to basically win the rest of our games. So
it's playoffs. It's exciting.
It is exciting, except that the playoffs have started at the start of December for us instead of January. And, I mean, they're at Houston Sunday, and it's a must-win for the Dolphins. So it's nerve-wracking every Sunday for me. But, boy, once you get down in that situation, it's like, if we win, I got to watch us win. If we lose, we still get a good draft pick out of it.
I think I'm right about this. The Raiders have only had the first overall pick one time in franchise history?
Jamarcus Russell?
And it was Jamarcus Russell?
I thought Tim Brown went number 1 overall. Check me on that.
I don't think he did. Last receiver that went number 1 overall was Irving Fryer.
It wasn't Keyshawn?
No, Irving Fryer was last overall number 1 receiver.
Keyshawn was.
I thought
Are you
Keyshawn
sure
about
that? I'm positive, yeah.
100%. You willing to put your life on it? Can I
Yep.
shoot you right now if you're wrong? Tim Brown was pick number 6 in round 1.
Okay. Yeah, Keyshawn, you can gun me down.
I can?
Yeah.
Jim, do
To
you
the
have
New York
a-
Jets?
I don't have it, but I
Give me the damn ball.
Damn, he was number 1.
Yeah, I thought
round 1,
so.
pick 1. I was going to kill Lance.
Yeah.
Right here on the show. Good
Jamarcus
numbers?
Russell, if I am right, is the only Raiders first overall pick. Just win, baby. That organization usually did win. So you didn't have the first overall pick.
Yeah.
What a bust.
Do you feel like that Shedeur Sanders is worth tanking? Is he tankable?
I mean, right now,
I think he's a really good quarterback.
I watched him play. They weren't tanking this past week against my Buccaneers. I don't think they're tanking. But is there a chance it's Deion and Shedeur that the Raiders let Deion coach the team?
I just don't
in
think.
Vegas?
I think they might. I think the discussion might have already been had because I don't think you get the commitment from Juju if you're Colorado. Like there had to have been, and I know people go back on their word all the time. It just doesn't seem like Deion's going to do that. I could be completely wrong. I could be naive here. I think if he wanted the Raiders job, there was a good chance he probably could have gotten it. As far as Shedeur, I would take him number 1 overall. But
would you tank for him?
Is
he that good?
That's another question, maybe. But I would also be happy with Cam Ward. I think both of those quarterbacks will be starting quarterbacks in the NFL.
All right. 4 downs. And what's happening tonight, if you're an SEC football fan, you want to be on the SEC network tonight. It's schedule release night, and we will tell you what you should expect tonight. By the way, you're going to be disappointed, but with what we tell you, you won't be disappointed in the show because I'm sure Peter and everyone else, Alyssa and Dari and the gang will do a wonderful job, but it's not going to be exactly what you probably hope it'll be tonight. You already know the answer, but we'll remind you of what the answer is when we come back on the show that's being brought to you by our friends at Inverness Country Club. What a great gift to yourself for 2025 right now this holiday season.
I was talking to Taylor before the show on I've done a pretty good job of gifting things to people they like, but I also get a benefit of it.
Oh, yeah, that is very good.
And the gift of membership is one of those things. Like you could give yourself the gift of membership from the Inverness Country Club, and when your wife's like, damn, what'd you do here? Well, I got you a social membership included. We've got childcare. We can go out. We can play pickleball. They can watch the kid. We've got a great place to go to dinner. We can network. We can make friends. It is a win-win at the Inverness Country Club.
Their pool situation, by the way, they have a staff member, different staff members, waiters and waitresses that wait on you right by your chair. You never have to get out of your chair to order drinks and food or out of the pool to order drinks and food. It's like being at a resort.
And I told Aaron and the fine folks at the Inverness Country Club, and seriously, if I didn't have a pool, I would be a member there. If I played golf, I would 100% be a member there. Best days happen at Inverness. To take a tour of this unbelievable club, call Aaron. Tell her the next round sent you. 205-991-8608. That's 205-991-8608 or online, iccalabama.com.
Follow LT on Twitter at @TheLanceTaylor.
The beauty of the holiday is at the center of your table with the New York Butcher Shop. Their selection of USDA certified Angus prime rib roast, beef tenderloins, and fillets, as well as premium pork and lamb cuts, are the finest selections available in the market and are hand-cut just the way you want. With side dishes handmade by their professional chefs, your holiday meal is complete. Visit one of their 2 locations today in Cahaba Heights or off Highway 119 in Greystone. Place your order today. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well done service.
Bryant Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
In some places, football is a sport. In Alabama, it's a fine art. New Life Art is proud to announce Daniel A. Moore's upcoming painting, Deuces Wild. This season, Bama is blessed with a pair of very talented deuces. The pair played a huge role on both sides of the ball in the Tide's amazing 41-34 victory over number 2 Georgia. Deuces Wild will portray the unbelievable game-winning 75-yard touchdown catch by deuce number 1, Ryan Williams, late in the fourth quarter. The Dogs' last chance drive was stopped by deuce number 2, Xavier Brown, as he made the game-saving interception in the end zone, which will be celebrated by a small artist's remark in the bottom margin of each print. Go to danielmooreart.com to see the artist's preliminary sketch and take advantage of special pre-publication pricing for Deuces Wild. Also available, The Legend, Daniel Moore's final tribute to Coach Nick Saban. Order now at danielmooreart.com.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
At Academy Sports and Outdoors, we believe the best holiday fun happens out there. On the driveway with a new basketball hoop, out back around the fire pit, or up in the deer stand. No matter your fun, we've got it. The right stuff at the right price. Academy. Have fun out there.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, final hour of the show. Before I tell you about Champies, who brings you this hour, Rich Clark, who was at that meeting in Vegas, I told you about Greg Sankey and the reworking of the college football playoffs, maybe as early as next year, that discussion that went on in Vegas last night. Rich Clark telling reporters that he is, quote, furious over the leak to Brett McMurphy. He said he told everyone in the room and the staff at the College Football Playoff Committee that you, quote, betrayed the process. And he says it wasn't me, which leaves only either committee members, staff members, or someone at ESPN that leaked it to Brett McMurphy before the show.
That's a lot of people.
That is. Try narrowing that down.
But he says we are investigating, and I want to know who it was.
He's an Army general, so you'd think he's got some pull in an investigation.
What do these guys get paid, though?
I don't know. I assume at least expenses. I don't know if they get paid anything if it's not a volunteer. Surely they get something because you make so much money off the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, look, it might be, the integrity comes into question, and it might be, going against the process. But if you're not paid anything, it's going to be hard to do anything about it.
You know how this works because you've both been in the business a while. I'm not sure Brett can report it without 2 sources on something that big. We know Brett personally, and I'm not trying to speak for him, but that was a big one. If you get that one wrong, that sticks with you. I'm probably going to need a couple sources on that one.
Yeah,
so it might not just be one person.
But if you have, randomly, you went through the committee yesterday or 2 days ago, who's somebody on that committee?
Will Shields, and I'm not saying he did it. We're just saying,
let's just say that Will Shields sent you a text, hey, it's done. I mean, I would feel confident enough rolling with it.
I'll go back to the day Nick Saban announced his retirement. Not to toot our horn, but we could have reported it before Chris Lowe reported it. Now, I know Chris Lowe knew it probably hours before before he tweeted it, because he is real tight with Nick Saban, but also with Jimmy Sexton. But when Chris tweeted it out, we had it before them from somebody in the room when he had just announced it to the team.
Literally heard the announcement.
Who literally said, who had told me all day long when I was telling him, we're hearing, Brown has heard that he could be stepping down. LT's heard he could be stepping down. And there's no way. We're just interviewing this guy. We just did this. We're doing this. So inside the room, somebody said, oh, shit, it's happening.
Yep.
He just announced it. And we didn't send out the tweet because I instantly wrote him back. I said, are you pulling my leg here? I said, we're about to send it out. This will ruin it'll be what I'm remembered for if I send it out.
Yeah, you can't miss that. That's like reporting somebody's death before they die.
And before he could text me back, Chris Lowe sent out his tweet.
Yeah.
So that's somebody that I am a dear friend with, and who gave me that information inside the room, and I still didn't go with it. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he had two people that said.
I think he almost had to.
That's one of those that he would be remembered. I understand why you didn't, because in this state, with how massive that hire was, and obviously ultimately what it meant to the program, for you to get that wrong would be disastrous. But I really believe Brett McMurphy would. I think he'd be okay.
And by the way,
no, he wouldn't get fired, but you just get tired of hearing about it. I mean, every time.
Another reason I didn't do it quickly, or Taylor didn't send it out quickly, is because she was sending it from the Next Round account. It wasn't from Jim's account.
So it represents all of us at that point.
It would have been a stain for all of us.
Yeah, thank you for not staining us. Actually, I wish you had tried to stain us.
We would have gotten it right.
Yeah.
We'd have been the first to report. I mean, we only missed it by seconds anyway.
Well, they would have probably, you know how that would have played. Somebody in Birmingham reported, but Chris Lowe has it, so let's go with Chris. Yes.
Chris Lowe has confirmed it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Chris Lowe has confirmed initial reports is the way it would have worked. Champy's Chicken, they bring you this hour, champy'schicken.com, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Nobody's better than Sterling. He's our inside source when it comes to great Southern fried chicken. Brined overnight, it is cooked to order. I'm a big two-breast guy. He won't put those down in the grease until I walk in there and say, hey, give me the usual. And he'll go, drop two breast. Dunaway's here. And then get all the sides, Mississippi Delta recipe, tamales, and so much more. Highway 119 in Alabaster. It's champy'schicken.com. Before we get to the four downs that LT has for us today, did want to throw this out real quickly for us, that in the college football world, tonight we get the SEC football schedule release for 2025. Before you get too excited, Brown, what should we expect to see tonight?
The exact same opponents you saw last year, just in a different place.
For instance.
Both location-wise and perhaps date on the calendar-wise.
Yeah. The key tonight is you can plan out your season because you'll get the place on the calendar that you play every game. You already know who you're playing.
That's right.
For instance, Georgia went to Texas last year. So in the return game this year, Texas is at Georgia. Alabama was at Oklahoma. Oklahoma's at Alabama. Texas A&M was at Auburn. Auburn's at Texas A&M. There's no jumbling of opponents this year. That'll happen for next year.
Okay, Texas is supposed to be maybe better next year than they are right now. So just listen to this SEC schedule for Texas.
Okay.
Because we laughed about it this year. So they're going to have to go to Starkville. Do you guys think they can handle a trip to Starkville?
I would imagine so. Maybe facing Jackson Arnold. They've got familiarity.
And that was my point of saying you're going to be disappointed because a lot of people would want to see a more even schedule.
They would have jacked this thing up if they went back to the drawing board. They would have to. So you're going to Starkville, Oklahoma, obviously neutral site.
Yep.
They got to go to Athens. That's a legitimate game.
That's a tough one.
They've got Vanderbilt at home.
Yep.
They got to go to the Swamp. We think Florida is going to be better. So that's a tricky game.
Does make it seem different.
Arkansas at home. They've got to go to Lexington. Such a difficult place to play. They've got A&M at home.
Yeah, it's not a hard schedule.
I mean, if they go less than 6-2, it's a disaster.
Who's there at a conference? Do you know?
Last year it was Michigan. I don't know.
I think they get Ohio State.
I think Jim is right about that. I can tell you if you'll give me 2 seconds here.
But they went to Michigan. So
they did. Their out-of-conference is at Ohio State, so they're back-to-back Big Ten road trips for them.
Yeah.
But to your point, the rest of their out-of-conference, San Jose State, UTEP, and Sam Houston.
Okay, I do think you could circle 3 games on their schedule, and if you want to include Oklahoma, I'm fine with that. But going to Athens, going to Gainesville, and then going to Columbus, I mean, those are 3 very losable games.
Yeah. I mean, but that to me, that's a tougher schedule than they had this year.
Yeah.
But some of this depends on, too. Now, I don't think they're just going to flip around. Like, I'll use this example. Auburn played A&M the week before the Iron Bowl. Bama played Oklahoma. I don't think they're just going to flip those right around. Do you?
I don't. I think
leave those in the same place on the schedule?
I mean,
that would be lazy.
Your traditional games would be there.
Well, your third Saturday in October, Iron Bowl.
But I do believe that this is where you're creating great TV products, right?
That's right.
So you would look at the big board and you'd say, okay, we have a better chance right now to figure out that, okay, this game is going to be an A quality game. This is going to be a B quality game. This is going to be a C quality game. Okay, let's spread out all of our A's, all of our B's, and all of our C's and lay them on the schedule. You do have to work around out-of-conference schedule games, though.
After, I mean, I want to use Georgia here real quick. I just got to see their road games.
Well, as you
remember,
do this,
all their tough games this past year,
I know,
other than Tennessee,
except for Tennessee,
was on the road. Now they all go to Athens this year.
Yep.
But, I wanted to bring up Florida in a second, whenever.
Well, just real quick, I was going to say on Georgia after Kirby's display, I was going to make this point.
Greg Sankey made this team go on the road all year long.
What if he said, okay, they play Alabama in Sanford Stadium. You think they'd like to go to Neyland Stadium the next week, guys? Let's put them there.
Yeah.
I mean, you could see that, right? I'm not saying the SEC is going to be vindictive here, but I am saying that does, even though it's just the flip around and Georgia's schedule looks a lot easier this year, if I've got to play Bama at Sanford Stadium and then go to Neyland Stadium, or they got to go to Auburn too, if I go at Auburn, Alabama at home, at Tennessee, that's a tough stretch of football.
Or if you just cram them all together, when you cram Alabama, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Florida, and Texas, and just jam them all together.
Just play 5 straight weeks.
That'd be like don't speak bad about me.
You
on live national TV.
You won't do it again because you won't be on that stage this year.
I guess I had forgotten that they were doing the schedule like this until it got brought up, I think, on the show last week. But you're Billy Napier coming into this where you're on the hottest of hot seats. You survive it with a 6-6.
And you get the same schedule.
Or a 7-5, I should say, which is pretty incredible. But, now you think about the schedule. So they've got to go to College Station.
That's right.
They've got Mississippi State coming to the Swamp. They've got Tennessee coming into Gainesville. They've got to go to Kentucky. They've got Georgia neutral site. They've got Texas coming in. They've got to go to LSU, and they've got to go to Ole Miss.
It's a brutal schedule.
Yeah, I mean, it's like,
and at Miami had a conference too, by the way.
And Billy Napier is going to be on a hot seat again. He cooled it down a little bit. But 7-5, I think Florida fans are like, what the hell?
Yeah. And another Florida State team that's got to be better than it was this year.
Got to be better.
Got to be better.
Now, do they have Miami again? What is their out of conference? You know?
Who, Miami's or Florida's?
Florida's.
Florida's out of conference is a team I've never seen, the LIU Sharks. Is that Long Island University?
I think it is.
How?
No, I thought Long Island was the Blackbirds.
What is LIU? I mean, pull up their schedule. They play Florida, Eastern Michigan, Rhode Island, and FIU. So I don't know what LIU is.
Billy Napier doesn't believe in scheduling moving forward like some of the other coaches.
LIU Sharks, Saturday, August 30th. That'll be a streaming only, I'm going to bet.
I will tell you what they are.
I bet it's not. I bet Dave Neal's doing that game.
You think poor Dave Neal has seen more bad
is
football.
It week one?
Week one, August 30th.
It'll be on the SEC network. No doubt.
That's Long Island University.
The Sharks. Did they change their mascot? I don't remember being the Sharks.
I thought.
Saturday, September 6th, they play USF at home. I mean, you got to show up for that. And then they've got a bye week there. It could be a conference game. You don't know the dates yet. But they go to Miami week 4, Lance. They're at Miami. And then they've got Florida State at home to wrap up their out-of-conference.
I mean, they've been playing football for 96 years.
Long Island has?
Yeah, I did not realize that.
Oh, you could have convinced me this is a startup program.
Hey, they are members of the Northeast Conference. They play their home games in the 6,000-seat Bethpage Federal Credit Union Stadium.
You think Florida's going to have a return trip? They're going to go to Bethpage Credit Union Stadium?
So they're FCS, obviously. There's their logo. Looks like the fake teams that fill out the schedule on college football EA Sports.
I don't know the association with sharks up in Long Island.
That is kind of weird.
I know back in the early 1900s, you had the shark attacks in New York that led to Peter Benchley's novel Jaws, but you don't see a lot of shark attacks or sharks up in New York, do you?
You don't, though. Loan sharks.
Exactly.
Maybe that's the play.
Be a different logo. Before LT gives us our 4 downs, brought to you by Slice, let me tell you about DanielMooreArt.com, a chance for you to get that wonderful Christmas gift or just a gift for the sports room for you or somebody in your family from DanielMooreArt.com. All the classics you can get there at DanielMooreArt.com, but also you can get the new version, the Legend, right there. It's celebrating 6 national championship in Tuscaloosa for the man, Nick Saban. You can get that wonderful The Legend right there, DanielMooreArt.com, DanielMooreArt.com, or the 2025 calendar, perfect stocking stuffer for the Tide fan in your life. Use the coupon code TNR, get you 20% off that calendar. It's a great gift right there with some wonderful prints from DanielMooreArt.com, DanielMooreArt.com, and Slice, which brings you 4 downs.
Yeah, I got to bring this up real quick, though. The head coach of LIU is Ron Cooper. He was an analyst on Saban's staff in 21. He was the former head coach for Louisville. Yeah.
Wow. But one-time Alabama A&M head coach?
Yeah.
But isn't that amazing? You're an analyst on Saban's staff, and guys are getting the help me out here, the Texas job.
Yeah, Ole Miss. What'd you get?
LIU.
Long Island.
But remember, Signetti had to go to IUPUI, right?
That's true. That's a good point.
Or IUI or something like that.
IUI.
Yeah, 4 downs is brought to you by Slice.
Yeah, our friends at Slice stopping in one of those 5 locations today. Lakeview, Vestavia, Montevallo, Crestline Park, newest location in Edgewood. Local pizza, local ingredients from the Hot Mama, the Bajalia Special, the Wing and a Prayer. You're going to love it. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
Okay, if I gave you guys choice, you could take the SEC to win the national championship, obviously Georgia, Texas, Tennessee, or the NFC to win the Super Bowl. And really, Lions, Eagles.
Wow. Lions, Eagles.
Don't really trust anybody coming out of the South. Or, I mean, if you got a really healthy Rams team, and I'm not sure they're going to win the division, but they could be scary.
I got a really, really good Jordan Love, maybe Green Bay.
Maybe. And I mean, Sam Darnold, watching him again last week against Falcons, he carved them up.
I think I would go SEC here over the NFC.
I hope the SEC wins it. It doesn't feel like they're going to. I still think it's either Oregon or Ohio State. I think I'd go NFC.
I've never seen Detroit do it. They've never been to the game. I think they are a little bit better than the Eagles. Maybe that's just sight seen last week against Carolina. I think I would go NFC, though. Let's just hope the Rams can pull it off.
Well, I mean, in all seriousness, it could be a wild card team.
No, it could be, yeah.
I
mean, I think the Commanders are going the wrong direction.
Yep.
Yeah, it appears.
I would say the wild card team would be out of the North, and it would be either Green Bay or Minnesota.
Yeah.
Of course, we've never seen Minnesota do it.
Second down.
Who is at current position longer, Shane Beamer or his now offensive coordinator, Mike Shula?
I think Beamer's probably about to get a good contract extension, don't you? And what are you protecting him from if you're South Carolina? What job do you worry he would take?
It ain't Virginia Tech.
No, I mean, that's a step down.
Yeah.
Florida, if Billy Napier, if he had another good year,
that would
Napier
be a concern.
Had a bad year. LSU, if Brian Kelly gets fired, are you protecting him from LSU?
Boy, let's see. I mean, I guess his name probably gets mentioned.
You would take the LSU. Let me ask you another one. If Hugh Freeze shits the bed again and goes 4-8 or 5-7, would he take the Auburn job?
I mean, it sounds insulting to ask the question, but I think you have to ask the question.
I mean, but some of it.
The only thing I would say about it, Brown, is like South Carolina's never done anything in football.
Yeah.
And you were really.
I'm on the verge of the playoffs now.
Game away. You've got what seems like maybe a generational quarterback, maybe ultimately the best quarterback in South Carolina history. You're going to make as much money at South Carolina, and you can do things at South Carolina that have never been done at Auburn.
Well, imagine if he and Norris were really good friends, like after this first year.
Take him with you.
And he could have behind the scenes said, all right, if you guys want to change coaches right now, Norris and I are available if you want us to come.
Well, let me ask you this.
LSU, if you want to pull the plug on Brian Kelly.
Oh, my gosh. Package deal?
This is a big step, though. But if Ryan Day loses to Tennessee, and if some of those reports are true and he gets fired, and if you're Ohio State and you know that you can hire Shane Beamer and you get Sellers with him.
For 2 years at least?
Is it worth it?
Yeah.
I don't know how good of a. I think Beamer's done a good job. He's obviously a good coach.
Oh, I'd be hiring Beamer to get Sellers.
Oh, I know what you're doing there, but I'm saying you've got to get this hire right if you're Ohio State.
Yeah.
If, in fact, which I don't think they'll get rid of
that. Seems really short-sighted. That seems really short-sighted just to hire a coach. I mean, it's not Allen Houston, or it's not Wade Houston to get Allen Houston.
Yeah, but Brown.
Well, then you knew the guy had to play for 3 years.
That's right.
You'd be firing a guy who is 47-1 against everybody in the Big Ten, not named Michigan.
Right.
So you're already
Is that important?
You're already being short-sighted.
Yeah, that's a good point. You've already gotten to that place, right?
Third down.
Better chance of playing for a conference championship in the next 3 years, North Carolina or Colorado?
Conference championship?
Yep.
Colorado. I mean, they almost did it this year. Now
I've seen North Carolina do it recently, though.
Yeah, you have.
With a lesser quarterback.
I would go Carolina.
Was it that divisional, though? Was it the reason they were in it? No, I think they were 11-1 that year, weren't they, when they played Clemson?
Yeah, no, they would have been in the...
Yeah.
That was in 13.
13. That's been a long time ago.
Yeah, they would have been in the conversation. Was it 13 or 14?
15.
It was
when we had 4 teams because Clemson punched their ticket with the win, and we think North Carolina would have been in if they beat Clemson.
Well, they just played in the ACC championship 2 years ago as well. Colorado, last time they played Pac-12 championship in 2016. I think I would go North Carolina here.
Yeah, I think I would go Colorado. Now, this is going to depend on Juju Lewis being a player, right? Because you're about to lose Shedeur and Travis Hunter.
Fourth down.
We got a celebrity birthday in here. Nikki Sixx, 66 years old.
Big part of Motley Crue.
Yeah, still getting after it. Nikki Sixx or Ricky Henderson? Better career.
Oh, I'd say Ricky Henderson.
I think Ricky, all-time steals leader.
I mean... Yeah, I'd say Ricky Henderson.
I would go Nikki Sixx based just on this. And I think Ricky Henderson's one of the most underrated because it was in our generation, maybe not for us, but for 30 and under that are big baseball fans. I don't think they realize how good he was. But Nikki Sixx, and we've talked to our girl Ashley, who did PR for Motley Crue, was the brains behind the whole operation.
Was he?
Yeah, and guys like Tommy Lee and Vince Neil were partying so hard, and obviously Sixx was too, but he held everything together. And he was their kind of brand ambassador. So
one of my favorite bands of all time. So I respect him. Guitar, though, guy, right? He's a guitar,
Bassist,
yeah.
Bassist,
yes.
Okay.
Music people love to jump in and make that correction.
And they had to, because I saw him with Mick Mars, and Mick Mars finally had to wave goodbye. I saw it 2 years ago, and it was sad because Mick Mars got that bad back. 70 years old out there trying to hang with those guys.
Oof. He was a guitarist,
like 10
right?
years ago when they were at Oak Mountain, Mick Mars was still hunched over, not really moving.
Ooh.
Yeah, you should have seen him in Nashville 2 years ago. It was bad.
Yeah. They were good. I saw them. I can't. A lot. I think I've seen them more than I have any other band.
You think so?
Yeah. There was a year that, it felt like every year they came to the amphitheater.
Yeah, they
farewell tour, right?
Yeah.
Every year?
They would be in the mix for my most seen band, too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I think so. That's 4 Downs, brought to you by our friends at Slice.
Yeah, created by the late Jeff Bajaya. His brothers Jason and Chris continue to celebrate his legacy. Get into one of those 5 locations today. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
I apologize if this is what you're about to update us on, Brown, that I let the cat out of the bag earlier today.
You did.
Go ahead.
No. You can say it. You let the cat out of the bag. Dylan Lonergan is in the transfer portal, so you had heard it was coming?
I had heard
Didn't have that second source?
Yeah, you didn't have source number 2. On 3, breaking it right now.
I thought it had already been reported.
It is now being reported that Dylan Lonergan, the Alabama quarterback, is in the transfer portal.
I heard Nick Saban was a big fan of Dylan's.
No, loved him.
Yeah.
Loved him. It was, remember Lonergan over Arch Manning, right?
I mean, that's. I remember Alabama fans saying, "I think we got the better of the 2 quarterbacks."
I remember that too, and
I mean, we don't know that you didn't. Right now, we have not seen enough Arch Manning to know.
And I think it was more of competition for Arch coming out of high school.
Yeah,
obviously he had the name.
It'll be interesting to see what Lonergan is able to do when he gets an opportunity. Maybe he'll be like Eli Holstein, go somewhere and lead a team in contention and some big wins. Boy, that team fell off at the end, but Holstein looked good for a while.
He did.
So Dylan Lonergan.
Well, he got hurt. Remember, he got hurt because it was the Clemson game, right, where the backup played.
Dylan Lonergan is on his way to the portal, according to On3, and will end up somewhere else, most likely. Just because you enter the portal does not mean you have to leave. MyBookie.ag takes care of all your needs when it comes to your online gambling.
That's right. Hey, so stick around. I'm going to give you 2 codes here. 2 codes, one for the casino, one for the sports book. You get to pick which one you use, but while I'm in the sports book, Notre Dame currently a 7.5-point favorite over Indiana at home in the college football playoffs. Penn State favored 8.5 over SMU in Happy Valley. Texas an 11-point favorite in Austin against Clemson. And Ohio State a 7.5-point favorite as they take on Tennessee there in the Horseshoe. You can play all those games. I think the Rams play Thursday night, I've heard, Lance. You may want to make plans to watch that one.
You know where I watched it last time? Did I tell you guys? The only place Steve Powers could find for me was an Irish bar that is owned by Russians.
Yeah. And you could be
Orange
back
Beach.
there.
I think I probably will be back
you know
there
they got
we
Amazon.
won. Hey, we won.
Oh, it's lucky.
Yep.
It's like the Russians are involved. Russian influence in that game, obviously. Listen, if you want to play those games, mybookie.ag code next round. You use that promo code and you make your initial deposit, 50% bonus. 50% bonus up to $1,000 when you use code next round. If you say, well, I like the casino better, all right, use code TNR Casino. TNR Casino, and they're still going to give you that 300% casino bonus up to $2,000. That is free money. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag for the sports book, code next round for that bonus. For the casino, code TNR Casino at mybookie.ag.
Listen, I complimented Kenny Dillingham earlier in the show for the way he's handling his players in the portal, the ones that aren't big contributors in the 22 or the 44 that are going to hit the portal. He says, hit the portal, find your place, but keep doing your stuff here. Stay a part of our team for this run we're on. I admire that. There's a lot of things Kenny Dillingham does that I don't like. But I've got to give credit where credit's due. Josh Heupel, when Mackenzie Milton got hurt as the quarterback at UCF and his career ended, Josh Heupel has kept him at Tennessee as an offensive analyst. And Scott Frost is now back at UCF. And Heupel said he made one phone call. He called Scott Frost, and he told Mackenzie Milton to get on a plane, come back and help us get ready for the playoffs, but get on a plane, go interview with Scott Frost. Scott Frost last night announcing Mackenzie Milton will be the quarterback coach on his new staff down there.
That's cool. That's kind of full circle, yeah.
It really is nice that they're taking care of one of their own at UCF. Very early, young start to be the quarterback coach. But, the whole cycle is getting younger, it seems like. So good for Josh Heupel. Good for Scott Frost. Good for UCF to get Mackenzie Milton on that coaching staff to help him with his future after football ended for him.
Yeah, and he was a really good player back in the day. So back to Dan Lanning, Josh Heupel. These guys have opportunities to be this. Do you guys think we're going to have a first-time national championship winning coach when we get to January 20th?
So it's Dabo and Kirby, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
I do.
I know it ain't going to be Dabo.
Yeah.
I think
I want you to remember that comment when they beat Texas in the first round.
It's interesting. I do think they could beat Texas.
I do too.
And then you get an Arizona State team that is red hot, but they're going to be off forever. I actually think Clemson would be favored in that game if they beat Texas. And then you look up and you're in the semifinals. Now, I think it probably ends there for Clemson. I think Kirby's got a shot, but I would go field first time ever.
Yeah,
I'm getting 10 teams versus 2.
Yeah, I would too. All right, well, when we come back, a couple of non-college football things that are out there that are interesting, plus several other college football things that are interesting and trash. It's all straight ahead on the show that's brought to you by our friends at Michelson Laser Vision. Tell us about Michelson.
Yeah, 205-969-8100. That is the number that I called 21 years ago. I had the 2200 vision. I was legally blind without the aid of contacts. Now 2015 vision, better than 2020. Make the phone call today, 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. Do you or a family member need to make your benefit selection at work now? Do you know your FSA or flex spending can be used to help you see clearly without the hassle of glasses or contacts? Yes. LASIK and Michelson Laser Vision might be a great choice for you. Book that free consultation with Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson today. Again, 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. Tell her the next round sent you. For more information, michelsonlaservision.com.
Follow Brownie on Twitter and Instagram at Ryan Brown Live.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcast, it's open 24/7, 365. You can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Done Away is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
Buying that perfect home is one of the most important financial decisions you'll ever make, so it's crucial that you have the right partner to help you through the process. Hi, I'm Lisa Zeig, Vice President Mortgage Loan Officer for Bryant Bank, and I'm here to tell you that we are that partner, making it easy to buy with confidence. We offer a variety of mortgage products to fit your unique home buying situation. That kind of hassle-free approach might not be what you'd expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give me a call today or visit one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama and let me show you what banking beyond expectation is all about.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Hey, you. It's the holidays. Give cheer a lift. And at New Balance Birmingham, we got the gift. That holiday vibe? Find it inside. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
At Academy Sports and Outdoors, we believe the best holiday fun happens out there, on the driveway with a new basketball hoop, out back around the fire pit, or up in the deer stand. No matter your fun, we've got it. The right stuff at the right price. Academy, have fun out there.
In some places, football is a sport. In Alabama, it's a fine art. New Life Art is proud to announce Daniel A. Moore's upcoming painting, Deuces Wild. This season, Bama is blessed with a pair of very talented deuces. The pair played a huge role on both sides of the ball in the Tide's amazing 41-34 victory over number 2 Georgia. Deuces Wild will portray the unbelievable game-winning 75-yard touchdown catch by deuce number 1, Ryan Williams, late in the 4th quarter. The Dogs' last chance drive was stopped by deuce number 2, Xavier Brown, as he made the game-saving interception in the end zone, which will be celebrated by a small artist's remark in the bottom margin of each print. Go to danielmooreart.com to see the artist's preliminary sketch and take advantage of special pre-publication pricing for Deuces Wild. Also available, The Legend, Daniel Moore's final tribute to Coach Nick Saban. Order now at danielmooreart.com.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Take TNR on the go with a podcast built for your satisfaction. Miss Hour 1, find it in podcast form. Miss Hour 2, stream it now. Miss Hour 3, download it for later. Miss Hour 4, well, just know it's never coming back. Listen to TNR wherever you find podcasts.
The beauty of the holiday is at the center of your table with the New York Butcher Shop. Their selection of USDA certified Angus prime rib roast, beef tenderloins, and fillets, as well as premium pork and lamb cuts, are the finest selections available in the market and are hand-cut just the way you want. With side dishes handmade by their professional chefs, your holiday meal is complete. Visit one of their 2 locations today, in Cahaba Heights or off Highway 119 in Greystone. Place your order today. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Nice reminder that the athletic director works for the school president, who works for the board of trustees, who, if the board of trustees offers the head football coaching job to somebody and the president and the athletic director really didn't want to hire that guy, that eventually the board of trustees is the boss
and the athletic director works for the president, who works for the board of trustees. ABC 11 has learned that North Carolina's board of trustees are set to meet today to approve the contract for Bill Belichick to be the next head football coach at North Carolina.
Well, I tell you
again,
what.
Athletic director works for the president, who works for the board of trustees.
If I'm Bubba Cunningham, it didn't appear I got my guy on football. I'm going to use the word maybe having to make a basketball change. You would not describe Hubert Davis as on solid footing, would you?
It's the weirdest thing because year one plays for a national championship. Year two misses the tournament. Year three, he's in the Sweet 16. And then they're taking on water right now.
Yeah, so I don't know. If I'm Bubba Cunningham, I don't like my job right now.
At that point, I'm saying that's fine. Can you guys also, while you're meet on that settlement right there, and we'll figure this thing out.
Jimmy out the door.
I'm telling you that. What am I here for? You guys get you a puppet or get you somebody that you are aligned with thinking if Bubba didn't want him, then I need to trust Bubba or not. Get somebody in there I trust.
Well, I tell you what, this board of trustees member feels like he's bought a bill of goods with Belichick. I may regret that statement when Belichick's in the college football playoff, but boy, I feel like I've bought a bill of goods on an NFL legend.
Well, the first thing that has to happen,
I'm shocked he wants his job.
I am too.
And the first thing that has to happen is now, while the portal's open, for North Carolina's season to be any different next year, they've got to win a lot of portal battles right now. Their roster has to change completely for them to be any good next year. They've got to have a lot of these guys step up and go, dang it, that's Bill Belichick. I am not going to go here. I'm going to go there.
Just in their own backyard today, Darian Mensah, the Tulane quarterback, who I know you really like, announced he's going to Duke. Mensah would probably start at North Carolina, wouldn't he?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so just done away while you're fumbling around trying to hire a head coach. Manny Diaz has lost Malik Murphy, who took him to 9 wins. Would you call that an upgrade? Mensah over Murphy?
Possibly.
Yeah. And Manny Diaz at Duke, Jim, at Duke, not North Carolina, has potentially upgraded at quarterback while you're fumbling around trying to make a hire.
Another developing story here before LT tells us about Hemphill. A big part of Samford's chance to actually win an NCAA tournament game last year in basketball, H.O.R.
Yeah.
He has been dismissed from the Kansas State basketball team. Sources telling the Field of 68. No reason given why, but H.O.R. dismissed from Kansas State. That, according to Jeff Goodman and the Field of 68, was averaging 7 points and 2 rebounds after transferring from Samford, where he was averaging 16 points and 6 rebounds last season. Didn't see that being the next chapter for H.O.R. there at Kansas State. That, according to Jeff Goodman and Field of 68. Tell us about Hemphill.
205-229-2090. The weather continues to change, like 30, 40-degree swings every other week. Whether you experience any plumbing, heating, or cooling issues in your home or business, they are ready to serve you. I had the guys come out last week to help me out with the gas fireplace. Just fantastic service. Trust the name. Birmingham has trusted since 1954. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew. The guys there, 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
Speaking of Jeff Goodman, earlier today, he said that A.J. DeBonza, the kid that the number 1 overall recruit for 2025 that picked BYU yesterday, Goodman learned last night that he had actually signed his papers with BYU weeks ago.
Did you see what they're estimating the number was?
Closer to $7 million instead of $5 million.
$7 million for that.
But he had signed his paper weeks ago and was still taking visits with coaching staffs that nobody knew he'd signed the papers already. That includes, I believe, an Alabama visit.
It did. And you know, to me, that is just complete bullshit. I mean, you're wasting people's time at that point. You're wasting people's money at that point. You know what you're doing. You know what you've got. Just honor it, roll with it, and, you know, let's see what happens with this thing. But I don't know if the kid's going to be worth $7 million or not. I brought this up yesterday, and I don't know how you guys feel about this. Do you think, because it looks like a guy like Nate Oates has all of these 4- and 5-star guys, are there some guys that maybe wouldn't want to play with a guy like that because he's such an alpha?
Maybe so.
It sounds kind of weird, but...
Well, I told Forrester, I said, $7 million, I can build a hell of a team.
I would think so,
instead of getting one player.
Yeah.
Well, I think you can get 7 guys for $1 million each that are really, really good.
Like, I mean, if Sears was $1.5 million,
or just $1 million.
And LeBaron Philon was $1 million.
Yeah, if I had 7 of the
Darion Reed was $1 million. I'm only up $3.5 million, and I'm off to a heck of a start.
Absolutely. Hopefully you all saw it yesterday.
But the New York Sack Exchange is the new 30 for 30 from ESPN.
Ooh,
that's out.
This was awkward.
And Mark Gastineau in the documentary has a film crew that follows him to a card and helmet signing show, and he confronts Brett Favre for laying down and giving Michael Strahan the record for sacks.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, it's super awkward, Lance.
Favre was very, very nice. We can't show you the video, but you can see the altercation on social media on the 30 for 30. But if you see the trailer, you have Joe Klecko, who says he was the other end edge rusher, who said, "Don't let this ruin your life that you're not in the Hall of Fame," to Gastineau. Then former Alabama great Marty Lyons, also part of that defensive line, and another guy who I can't remember his name, part of that defensive line, talked about how selfish Gastineau was.
He wouldn't play the run. He only wanted sacks.
He only worried about sacking the quarterback. He never would stop the run, Basically, in the documentary, they blame Gastineau for being one of the reasons why that team never won a championship.
He's dead now, right?
Gastineau?
No.
At least he's talking in the video.
A massive heart attack.
No, he sounded bad, though, in the video. It's super awkward, and I feel bad for Brett Favre because he gets roped into this. He does not know what he's walking into.
He tweets last night, in fact, a long apology. "I want to clear the air on the footage release showing a dust-up with Gastineau." He goes on and explains it all. It was the end of a game. He was trying to burn a little bit of clock and spin out. And there was Strahan, and he did fall down.
I saw the footage again today. I remember where I was. I was sitting in the sports book at Caesar's Palace in Vegas, watching that game. He was getting sacked.
Yeah,
there was nowhere he was going to go.
Strahan was going to get to it.
That's right. He says, "I could have done something extraordinary, but we had a lead, and we were just burning clock at that point. So I wasn't going to try to avoid him and risk injury. We were going to the playoffs or throw a pass."
Yeah, if you hadn't seen it, just Google the play because even if something spectacular, maybe miraculously he's able to get away from Strahan, but I don't think so.
But what, of course, then starts happening after this footage is out there, people start finding clips from Gastineau's career on how many times he beats a blocker on the edge and the quarterback just falls down in a heap, just like Favre did. It wasn't the one that broke the record.
Yeah,
like
just to avoid the hit, though,
But some of his sacks were, and then they said, man, if Gastineau keeps griping, there are people that could start challenging his number, that there were some half sacks that Lyons or Klecko got there with him that he got credited for full sacks on instead of half sacks. So interesting that Gastineau apparently will never be a Hall of Famer because of the type of player he was.
That is super. Go watch it, Lance. I mean, you'll cringe at it because Favre comes over. He's like, "I thought we had met before," and then Gastineau immediately confronts him. It's a complete setup, and Favre doesn't know he's walked into a setup.
Yeah, Favre says that in the tweet.
Yeah.
That's the kind of footage between two NFL warriors that should not be recorded.
He's 100% right about that.
It's time for Trash. It's brought to you by Mortgage Right. Roulette wheel time for my man on the run, Tyler. Man, spin that wheel.
Well, shit. What are y'all doing?
How many days?
This is awful. It's still March. How many days in March?
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
It is spring buying season. Our friends at Mortgage Right. Spring buying season right around the corner, I should say. Our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Veteran founded here in Birmingham, offer loans throughout the country. While the area they serve may have grown, their commitment to Birmingham and veterans has not changed. Before you take those next steps on a new home purchase or refinance, talk with the team at Mortgage Right. No cost or obligation to find out what you qualify for. You can get more information. Go to the website, mortgageright.com. Call 205-900-7200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. We start first with actors who rejected legendary roles. Did you guys realize Meg Ryan said no to Clarice Starling in Silence of the Lambs?
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
Does that seem like a fit, though, to you?
No. Meg Ryan was asked to play Clarice, turned it down because the movie's dark and scary themes didn't appeal to her. Jodie Foster took the role, ended up winning the Academy Award for Best Actress. I think the movie would have been completely different.
Yeah, she ended up later on, I think, Meg Ryan trying to be darker and different to break that stereotype.
In the cut, did full frontal. Trying to get a little edgy there. Sean Connery, speaking of Silence of the Lambs, turned down Hannibal Lecter. That obviously went to Anthony Hopkins. It was originally planned that Sean Connery would play the character of Lecter in the film Silence of the Lambs. He ultimately decided against taking the role because he thought the movie was intended for children. He obviously didn't read the script.
He thought it was intended for children?
Yeah.
It's a story about these sweet little lambs. They're very quiet when we're going to bed.
Yeah, I've got two more for you. Dunaway, how would you feel about Jessica Simpson turning down The Notebook to make room for Rachel McAdams?
Good call on Rachel McAdams.
Jessica had to do Dukes of Hazzard. Was that at the same time when she was Daisy Duke?
She probably did choose that.
She was Daisy Duke, yeah.
It said that she could have played Allie Hamilton in The Notebook, turned down because she didn't feel comfortable with the romance parts.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my goodness.
And there's something about the cuteness of Rachel McAdams. Again, I've seen the movie.
Right.
I finally saw it a few years ago. But she was
more girl next door. It fit that role better.
Fit the role a lot better. And then finally, Tom Cruise turned down Andy Dufresne in The Shawshank Redemption.
I think there were several people that did. I don't think
Tom Hanks did too.
Yeah,
Tom Hanks.
Yep.
Didn't want to work with a director who was still new to the project. In the end, Tim Robbins played the part. Again, the movie would be so different, in my opinion, with one of those.
Just doesn't feel the same. Tim Robbins played it so well.
So well.
All of these, you just look at it and you're like, yeah, they made the right call there.
Well, he had like a aloof, honest.
Yep.
There was just something about him, like
he was believable.
Yeah, I think Tom Hanks probably could have played it, pulled it off. I think Tom Cruise is a underrated actor, honestly, but I don't know if he could have pulled that off. Speaking of movies, Robert De Niro, Ben Stiller, Terry Polo, and Blythe Danner in early talks to return for a new film in the Meet the Parents franchise. This is in development at Universal Pictures. First one was great.
Yeah.
The other two were awful.
Yeah. Oh, well, other two?
Yeah.
I've only seen one other one. What was the third one?
So there was Meet the Parents, Meet
the Fockers, which is terrible.
and
Dustin
there was
Hoffman.
Little Fockers.
Little Fockers.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't bother with Little Fockers.
Yeah, that one's not great.
Plot details are being kept inside. John Hamburg, who co-wrote all three prior films in the franchise, produced the most recent. Little Fockers, set to write the screenplay. No word yet on who is directing. I don't know. I mean, would you guys be interested at all?
Not really. Meet the Parents is fantastic, though. I mean, it is a laugh a minute.
The franchise has grossed over $1 billion worldwide.
I mean, that's one of those movies done away I can pick up and watch and still laugh at all the same scenes that I've always laughed at.
I enjoyed it. I didn't watch any of the others.
Yeah, Meet the Fockers. Don't waste your time. Dustin Hoffman shoehorned in there.
Did he want a $100 bottle of champagne?
Oh, yeah, when they went to the convenience store or the drugstore.
Well, what can I get for $100? A lot of moms. We've got moms. Who drives around on a motorized cart while wearing a blue bonnet, purple and red flowery dress, black jacket, white tennis shoes, and makes off with 28 cans of infant formula? Florida man, perhaps? Cape Coral police are looking to identify the man seen around 9:40 p.m. Saturday dressed as described while roaming at the Cape Coral Publix. They said the man resembles a suspect from similar crimes in Fort Myers and Naples. Police responded to the public, saw a man in their 50s on surveillance cameras. What's the formula? Infamil?
Infamil, I believe, is the name of it.
They
Yeah.
took 28 of those, valued $450. They're still looking for it.
Yeah.
That's the difference right there between a shopping cart and a shopping buggy to me. Now, that looks like a shopping buggy on the end of that little moped.
Yeah, but I think for
rascal?
the rascal rider that doesn't have anybody with them, I guess they got to have that, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But you've got some of those you can walk around with that are stand-up that look like a buggy as opposed to a shopping cart. I think Northerners make fun that we call them carts.
Buggy? Oh, no, they call them buggy? What do they call
Or it's
them?
the other way around. Do we call them shopping
I think we call them buggies, and they call
Do
them
we?
shopping carts.
I don't know. I call them shopping carts.
I've always called them carts.
I think
I've always
buggy
called
is
it a
north.
buggy.
I've never called it a buggy. I call it a shopping cart.
buggy.
Yeah, I think that's northeastern.
Oh, is
I
it?
think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Buggy.
So we got
sounds
a
very southern.
angry auto buyer who was refused a refund for a vehicle he bought at a Mazda Southtown earlier in the day returned with a vengeance late Monday afternoon and smashed his way into the dealership's showroom.
Have you seen the video? It's insanity.
I haven't.
You guys usually do this before 8 a.m.?
Obtained shows the moment the car barreled into the building, shattering windows, destroying door frames, furniture, while people inside of the showroom ran for cover. After the crash, the driver, identified in court records as Michael Murray, 35 years old, emerged from the car and stunned salespeople. "I told you, I warned you, MFers." Murray then stepped outside through the dealership smashed doorway before turning and pointing towards the car. "Is there anyone under there?" he asked. "No," replied several people off of camera. He once again said, "I told you, MFers," walked out to the parking lot, apparently waiting for the police to arrive.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, according to the affidavit of a probable cause statement filed in Salt Lake County 3rd District, as officers approached, Murray was standing right outside of the front door, and when asked what was going on, he said they sold him a lemon, would not give his money back for the vehicle that he had bought earlier the day, so he drove the vehicle through the front doors. I typically side with the consumer.
Yeah.
I think it's probably over the top.
You think that is a bit extreme? Now, I will have to say the vehicle appeared to be running and in working order. He drove it through the window.
I do give him credit for living up to what he said he was going to do.
He said he would do it.
Here's the keys.
How bad does it suck if that's your desk right there, though?
Several salespeople had to jump out of the way in order to avoid being struck. According to the probable cause statement, he is being investigated for second-degree felony criminal mischief and 2 Class A misdemeanors, including reckless endangerment and economic interruption to property damage. Never heard of that one
you
before.
don't want that. You don't want that on your resume.
But, he ends up clipping somebody and they die.
Yeah, he's in jail for the rest of his life, maybe.
Well, he's probably doing 6-7 years.
Yeah.
If someone's under the car.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, they're waiting to video him, so he obviously sat there and revved the engine for a minute, if you watch the video. So they were able to get everybody out of the way. I don't think
so they were like, there's that crazy ass man that said he was
He's
going to.
not going to really do it.
Yeah, and he really did.
Oh my God, here he comes.
Yeah, he hammers. He drops the hammer, and comes right through the glass.
That is unbelievable.
And somebody goes, "Call the police!" Like, that's not my first. Like, yeah, we're going to call the police. The guy just literally drove through our window.
Probably not going to have to call him, ma'am.
Yes.
Tyler, I'm going to assume the final story is Bend, Oregon.
Yes, it is.
We used to have a. You remember we used to have a
sponsor
consultant
that helped you with the Bend, Oregon?
No, no, Jim. Very well done. It was very well played. We used to have some consultant used to come in, and he lived in Bend, Oregon.
Oh, Bend, Oregon.
I don't remember that. Yeah. I think Bend, Oregon was is that not the home of the last Blockbuster Video? I tried to watch that documentary. It was so boring.
It might be. I couldn't remember if it was in Oregon or one of the Dakotas.
That documentary did not deliver. No. I thought it was going to be good too.
But I think it was Bend, Oregon. Okay, travel around Bend. You might notice something different about the sculptures on several of the city's roundabouts. Pair of googly eyes. Oh. Someone or several people have placed the oversized plastic items on 8 public art installations in an apparent attempt to draw some laughs. But officials wrote on Instagram the stunt risked damaging the sculptures and separately said removing them has cost the city all of $1,500.
Well, that's a lot of money.
Now, the post is drawing a mixed response on social media, with many people responding in all caps that they like it. One commenter wrote, quote, "These things endure all types of weather and temperature swings on a daily basis. A little bit of adhesive ain't going to damage it."
Yeah, $1,500. Who stole that money from the city that can walk and pull that off?
Yeah. According to Renee Mitchell, the city spokesperson, the adhesives from the eyes can damage metal coatings and may require the sculptures to be repainted or redecorated. For the bronze sculptures, damaged wax can lead to blue-green corrosion.
Yeah.
So somebody's trying to have fun.
Big deal out of nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bend, Oregon. Get over at Bend.
That is Trash Today, brought to you by
our friends at Mortgage Right. They are the mortgage experts, and if you are in the market right now, you need to make sure you check out our friends at Mortgage Right. Whether you're looking for a new home or you need just to get some advice, there is no cost or obligation. So whether you're looking for that final home or first home, call our friends 205-900-7200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Sad news first. Randy Moss the other day was wearing some sunglasses on the ESPN Countdown show, and a lot of people complained on social media. So the next show he did, he started the show off by explaining, "I'm going through a medical problem, which is why I'm wearing these sunglasses with the bright lights." And he put them back on. Everyone on the set wore the sunglasses as well. Word comes out last night, Randy Moss, the NFL Hall of Famer, is dealing with liver cancer.
It's terribly sad.
So he's battling liver cancer.
One of the greats, man, and so entertaining, I think, in his broadcast career.
Yeah, so thoughts and prayers, and as many people are writing, hope he is able to moss the big C there and go out and beat the big cancer.
Yeah, I mean, you can make an argument best receiver ever. I know people would say Jerry Rice, Calvin Johnson, but I mean, he's right there.
Game changer, man.
Congratulations to Keelan Russell is coming from the Alabama football fans. He has been named the Gatorade National Player of the Year. So congratulations to Keelan Russell, the 5-star, who is coming in to be Alabama's future quarterback. And he is the Gatorade National Player of the Year.
I was going to look this up real quick, they and the announcement said it's the second Alabama signee to ever have won that in football.
Yeah, I'm looking at this too. So here are the all-time national winners because I think it's interesting because I remember back in the day, these guys were can't miss.
Is the other one Julio Jones?
I can't find it now. They said it was 85, 86, but the first one I see is 86, Jeff George. I'll keep looking. Go ahead, Lance. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, I thought I had the list here and a bunch of damn pop-ups.
Yeah. Also in the news, Max Fried, for you Braves fans, when he left the final game last year for the Braves, he tipped his cap. He knew he'd be somewhere else. It is with the New York Yankees, as feared. 8 years, $218 million for Max Fried. He's 30 years old, injury-riddled, and that's about 3 years longer guaranteed money than most experts thought he was going to get. So really good deal for Max Fried.
Massive money for Fried. And the only other left-hander that's ever gotten a $200 million contract was Clayton Kershaw. I do have this list.
What year? Do you have one from Alabama?
I couldn't find one. I just saw a tweet earlier that said it was the first time since 85, 86, and I could not remember who that would have been for Alabama.
Maybe that's the beginning.
Maybe so. Yeah. Maybe that was what they meant. Jeff George was the first one in 86. He did not go to Alabama.
Lagway won it last year. Yeah. Jackson Arnold the year before. Jackson Dart in 2021. There are some guys that I don't remember. Jake Smith. Do you guys?
I do not, Lance.
By the way, I don't know if gas prices will go up because of this. But at some point today, Saudi Arabia, if it hasn't already happened, will be announced as the World Cup site for 2034. Part of their FIFA plan is they will build not a new stadium to host the championship round, not 2 new stadiums, not 3 new stadiums. They tell FIFA we will build 11 new stadiums by 2034 to host the World Cup.
You're paying for those stadiums a gallon at a time, my man.
11 new stadiums just to host the World Cup in Saudi Arabia. I'm sure there's no scandal or any problems with that Saudi Arabian bid there for 2034.
Ask Tommy for Landman what he thinks about it.
Yeah, Tommy's got some thoughts. All right, we'll be back with you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central. Until next time, God bless you. God bless America.